Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the State of the Heart podcast with me, Damo, and my good buddy Water Gage. How are you, man?
Yo, it is going.
It's going well. Let's do it. Today we were going to talk about, from my big old board of topics, the subject of like remakes in the Kingdom Hearts series. And it sort of was like probably reached a fever pitch towards the big anniversary event for Kingdom Hearts this year, the 20th anniversary. People were
It did?
theorizing that maybe Kingdom Hearts 1 was going to be, announced for a remake.
Uh, yeah.
Which is why I sort of started thinking about this topic. I mean, a while ago now, but obviously that never came to fruition. But I'm sure once the 25th anniversary starts, poking its head around, which won't be too far away. Time keeps marching on. I'm
Yeah.
sure people will start, broaching that topic again. And yeah, I just sort of want to give my take on it and sort of get Water's opinion as well and see if we agree or disagree. I'm firmly in the I don't really think any Kingdom Hearts game needs exclamation mark, full caps needs to be remade. But I don't know, man. What are your general thoughts before we dive into it?
Okay. Yeah. I think I also agree, but at the same time, my first experiences with, right? So, Rechain of Memories, I played before I played Chain of Memories, and then Recoded is the only one I played. I haven't played Coded. So, technically, those are remakes,
Right.
but I played them first. So, I don't know. That's hard to kind of give my take on those games, but like they feel good. They feel better. Like they don't feel like a rehash. Like right there, I feel like they're completely different games. But
Yeah, it's
yeah, I
funny.
don't know.
I'm in a similar boat where obviously I've never played the original Coded. I think I'd like to one day just to give it a try, but I have only played RE Coded. So I am coming in
Yeah,
it from maybe a selfish perspective, going like, oh yeah, I've already got the remake that I want. Uh,
yeah,
and in that boat
yeah.
includes RE Chain of Memory. So I'm like, well, I'm good now. Now we don't need any
Well,
more
yeah.
remakes. But
Well, if you compare Coded to okay. I don't really know much about Coded, but I think it's like a Japanese phone game. And then you have
the Dokuma.
Chain of Memories and Rechain of Memories. Like
Hmm.
those are vastly different platforms, and like I don't know, like graphically too, they're way different. I don't know, like the whole Last of Us Part One being remade on PS5. It's like that feels like a waste. But with like Rechain of Memories and Chain of Memories, like that's a little bit more bearable, I guess, or like understandable. What do you think?
I think, yeah. So obviously, if we count the ones we've had so far, like true remakes, we've had Chain of Memories to RE Chain of Memories. We've had Coded to RE Coded, the actual DS game. And then I suppose you could count as well
I was
Days
gonna
and RE Coded being quote unquote remade, not as games, but as, these cinematic movies. So in a way, they have also been remade as well.
well, even
Um,
then you have Cage One and Cage One Final Mix.
so I would count that more as like a director's cut version, and then if you count the 1.5 HD version, that's more of a
Well, I
remaster, not a
think
true remake.
well for the 1.5 and 2.5 remix, I'm pretty sure, I can't be quoted on this, but
The line
I'm
was
pretty
they
sure they
lost all the
remade
assets, right, and they had to remake it
yeah,
from
they had to
yeah.
remake it. So
I guess in that
technically,
terms,
that is
it's
a
like
remake.
it's still fundamentally the same game, though, right? Like nothing
Yeah.
is rapidly changed. There's no major
Okay. Well.
change in
Okay.
assets,
That
anything else like
actually,
that.
that is what Naughty Dog did, right? Like PS4 to PS5,
Mm.
Last of Us. Basically, we've been getting PS2 to PS3, Cage One and Cage Two, along with a couple. Of, oh no, actually, it might just be Cage One, Cage Two. And then when the PS3 or PS4 came out, we got another one, didn't we? Or was that 2.8?
I mean, in that
Or
sense, yeah, we
even we
got
had
the
the whole
3DS
bundle.
version
Like
of
they
Gentle
have
Distance.
constantly I guess re-release and remakes are different though.
Yeah, I count a remaster and a re-release very differently to a remake, which I think a lot of people are clamoring for a straight up remake of like, for at least
Yeah.
a time there,
Yeah.
a remake of Kingdom Hearts 1. Make Kingdom Hearts 1 again, similar to how you
The
did
only
Final
reason
Fantasy 7 to Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
I don't think they'd want that though. I don't think they'd want that
I
because
don't think so
remake
either.
isn't
I think a
seven
huge part
remake
of
is way
the
different
love of
than the
Kingdom Hearts
original.
1 comes from the nostalgia you have for it, and I don't necessarily know, A, that it's even old enough to deserve a remake, but that's very subjective, but um,
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like Kingdom Hearts 1 has been remade several times if you want to count it that way. Like, we got Chain of Memories and then RE Chain of Memories, which is all the Kingdom Hearts worlds again that you've already played through
yep,
in a different format. We got then Coded did the same thing, then RE Coded did the same
yep.
thing. If you want to play Kingdom Hearts worlds again in a new way, you have the remakes of those already. You can do it right now if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you want to do it in Unreal, well, there are modders working tirelessly to make that happen for you right here and now. I don't necessarily know that we need, actual
Yeah.
development time from Square Enix itself
Yeah, because if people are
dedicated to
gonna do
that.
it for free anyway, like, why would you pay? Like, I'm sure Square Enix has seen all these modders remaking like Cage 2 or Cage 1 scenes in Unreal, and they're like, well, I mean, they already have part of it done. There's no need to, pay 120,000 to this developer and have them make a new game when we can get it for free. Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you think if they look at that and they see, oh, there is a demand for it, there's fans doing it, and they're getting a great response, okay, clearly that means there's a demonstrable demand for it. We should do this because it's an easy cash in. Like, we don't have to necessarily
I don't think they're
create anything
Pokemon
new. We have to
levels,
reimagine it.
right? Because Pokemon, don't they shut down fan projects pretty quickly?
There was a time where they were pretty litigious about stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I see less of the grand sweeping takedowns that I used to, but I also haven't really been paying
Right.
attention.
I feel like it's a little bit different with that too, though, because Pokemon. Okay, and this might come off a little bit rude, but Pokemon essentially is like the same game with different textures. It's like a COD. Like, it's just new year, new Pokemon, new COD, right? Like, it's the same mechanics. It's just different textures and stuff.
Largely, yeah. I mean, there are various updates and what have you, but largely it's the same skeletal
Right.
structure to a Pokemon game, even if they try and say it's, oh, it's a little bit different this time. Well,
Well, I think they have like what they have Dynamax or
there's some
I
you
can't
can make
remember what
in
it's
every,
called.
yeah.
You're right. So there is like that, and like with COD, there's like you can jump now, or you can jump super high, or now you can't. And then I think with Kingdom Hearts, it's the mainline titles are a bit more similar, but I feel like they're still largely different, especially the spin-off ones, like the plot. Anyways, getting a little bit off topic, but
You say like there's room for experimentation in the quote unquote spin-offs,
yeah,
like the handheld games, and that
right, like
you feel like
they're
the main number
yeah.
titles have to be more streamlined in their experience and more, let's say, traditional to the original
I was
one.
gonna, I think it's their mainline titles are going to be the ones that people see the most, I think, and so you're going to make it as open and friendly as possible for newcomers. That's
Okay.
why I think Kingdom Hearts 3 was so. It's a lot of people, they'll say it's too easy or it's too linear, and it's like, I don't know, it looks great, plays great, it's fun, it's easy to pick up, easy to put down. Like it's it's a pretty standard open to everybody game and kind of game flow. So like they did their job, I think. Whereas with Birth by Sleep, it's like it's just a grind fest. Like you're just you need to grind this much, and then you got to meld all these different things together and experiment and grind some more, level up some more, make more commands. Like it's a whole different
It's a much more experimental
genre,
system
almost.
for sure. Like
Yeah.
like I feel like the intended play order is kind of a clue to that. Like with Terra, if you play him first, which if you read developer interviews, that's recommended. But if you don't, you just walk in, fresh, picking up the game for the first time. Terra is the first one on the list.
Oh yeah.
Terra, Ven, and then Aqua. And Terra does play, if you want to play him like a more traditional Kingdom Hearts character, where you more or less hit the X button, do your big damage, and then do a little bit of dodging, do a little bit of curing. Like if you only use cures and a couple commands here and there because you don't really experiment with the system too much, you'll still get by. And then, okay, a bit more comfortable with the system now. Now we're playing as Ventus, who has, far less damage on his attacks.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try out the command system a little bit this time. I've played one playthrough as Terra already. Okay, I can get through this time with getting a little bit into it. And then by the time you get to Aqua, you are doing 0 damage off your regular attacks, especially if you're starting critical. Like you kind of have to.
Yeah.
I mean, not have to, obviously. You can get it by without if you choose to. But
Right.
you are really handicapping yourself if you don't develop, some magic commands as soon as possible, which hopefully by your third playthrough of the game,
Right. Yeah.
you do have some familiarity with, and you can go, oh, okay, well, I know if at the very least, I can mix a couple fires together, make a fire Arga pretty quickly, and then maybe I go, oh, what's this? I can mix it with a Roger and get fission fire Arga, whatever, and you're not so afraid to
right.
test the system out. You've
I'm
played
pretty
the
sure I
beloved
started
command
as
board.
Aqua.
Yeah, I mean I've seen streamers that are like, oh, I want to play as the girl first of all, which totally fair enough if it's your first experience playing as a girl in the Kingdom Hearts series. Oh, I want to give that a try.
Yeah.
And then, oh god, what's happening? I'm doing zero
Yeah.
damage.
Dude, no
Chat's screaming at
damage.
me to
Yeah.
mix commands. I don't know what that means. I'm getting, there's 100 people screaming at me. I don't, why do I have to, I don't want to block. What's this command? It
Yeah,
can be
yeah.
overwhelming. And I guess, as a ridiculous Kingdom Hearts fan that tries to absorb every bit of information beforehand, and I guess was maybe ready for the command board before I got in, sorry,
Right.
the command deck before I got into it,
Oh, okay. Yep.
or at least was aware of it and, had the internet and could just Google a guide and be like, all right, if I mix this and this, what do I get? So I sort of eliminated the risk of losing my biggest commands and, oh, I can get
Yeah.
second chance and once more if I just put this and this together. Okay, sweet. Now I'm in a much more advantageous position than someone who's going in blind.
Yeah, I don't think I got those until I beat the game with everybody. Or maybe I think at that last boss, I think I ended up looking up how to get it because I was like, there's no way this game doesn't have second chance.
No, I think I was the same way. Like, I know playing through as Terror at least. I think Final Xehanort kicked my ass a few times because I didn't have second chance.
Yeah.
And Meteor would drop on me and I just get
Yeah.
obliterated. Um,
But yeah, now circling back a little bit, or I mean to our main topic, when Cage 3 first released, right, and you drop down as Cage 1 Sora,
mhm.
and you're him for like 10 seconds, and then you switch to Cage 2 Sora, my first thought was, all right, there's no way they're going to just make this asset and then not use it. So I really thought they were going to have a Cage 1 remake coming out on Unreal. Did you
And
think
that was
similarly? Or
No, I
well, I
sort
was
of.
like, just like, why put in the effort? Like that seems like a lot of effort to model this person that's going to be in the game for, such a, like, not even a percent. I mean, like 0.01% of the game.
Comparatively though, is it if you've already built this entire engine and you've got the model already, and sorry for
But you don't have
let's
the model.
let's say
do
you start with
you have
Kingdom
to
Hearts 3
remake all the
Sora or
models.
Cage 2 Sora. Like,
Okay.
is it in the grand scheme of things, like, and you're already creating assets for, Kari and Roxas and Shion and Ventus
Yeah.
and blah, 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 blah. Is it that much effort to create one more? Like, especially once you're already, I don't know, assuming you don't
I
start
guess,
with KH1
yeah.
Sora.
Game development is very much different than, traditional design. So, like, I could see them, just making it on a whim to be like, all right, well, let's just get all the three main actors in and then go from there kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that. But definitely my first thought was, all right, a remake's coming. They have the asset. They're going to use it. And then they didn't. Or they still might, but I don't think so. Yeah, do you think they'll end up remake? Because Unreal, honestly, is a really beautiful engine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it could, we've already seen people already remaking scenes, as we said before, in Unreal. But do you think the developers at Square will take up 1 and 2?
Again, so from personal perspective, I hope not, only because I feel like there's only so much mental bandwidth that the Kingdom Hearts team has. I'm sure
Right.
Nomura, as well as everyone else in that company, is pulled in a trillion different directions at once. With various Final Fantasy projects, as well as every other.
Yeah.
It seems like
Well,
a
he's on, like,
never-ending
everything.
cavalcade of
Yeah.
new franchises that are announced. Like, even the Nintendo Direct recently is like, how many Square Enix games? And there's like 3 of them that are farming simulators. Like,
Yeah.
anyway, so the point is, like, even if it's just a remake, we'll farm it out to another studio. I still feel like that's going to take away. It has to, right? Some time from the continuation
you'll
of
have
the
to-
series.
Yeah.
And-
Well, because you'll have to either provide documentation or provide feedback, or, in Nomura's case, like, he'll have to be overseeing the project, make sure it's on track, make sure, everybody's doing the things they're supposed to do. And then even like things as like small as, maybe the developers want to put in a different cutscene or a different asset or, change things. Like, Nomura has to okay all of that. Like, there's a process that goes into all of that. And I just feel like, that's so much time that you're taking away from new stuff, right? And I guess my take on it is, you're not going to please the people that want it in the first place. Like, I don't know. I can't think of anything offhand that somebody's asked for like a remake, and then they get it, and then they're like, well, I wish it was, had the Mario and Luigi, I think like Superstar Saga or something like that. There was like a remake of that, and a lot of people were upset because they changed how it looked or like changed some of the mechanics, and it's like, yeah, it's a remake. Like, I don't know, like wouldn't you want something a little bit different to experience as opposed to just, just like a facelift or like the same gameplay? I guess from my perspective, right, you'd want something new. You'd want something different. Like, for instance, the Final Fantasy VII remake. Like, to me, as someone who hasn't played the original, that was really cool experiencing it. And like
Right.
knowing that it's different than the original makes me want to go back and play the original.
100%
like,
agree. Yeah.
that'll be a different experience for me. But it's like, if I'm playing that one and I'm like, oh, okay, it's just an upgraded version of the old one, I'm not going to go play the old one now.
It feels
Because
like there's no reason to play the old one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel quite selfishly very similarly like, oh, I've never played the original 7, or like, I was a kid watching my cousin play it, a million years ago, but having never experienced it, having the remake be a really cool entry point into the series, knowing that, spoilers, it does change things from the original. I 100% agree with you. Like, it makes me want to go back and play the original and be like, oh yeah, sick, like that was its own thing, and now whether it's a divergent timeline or whatever it is, it's almost like I guess it remains to be seen, but maybe it's more of a sequel than a true remake if you want to go down that route. I don't know. That's the kind of impression that I got from it. Again, being someone that knows very little about the actual FF7.
I know nothing.
Series.
Like, honestly, it could even be like it's the same game. They just added that like last bit, but it's still the same game. I was like, okay, that's
right.
I don't know. At least they added something. Like right. That remake makes a lot more sense because it's such a radically different experience, right? It's not turn-based. It's real-time. The graphics are wholly different platform. Like, it's just, like, I feel like that's, if you wanted to remake something, that would be how you do it. Yes, it is taking away resources from making the next Final Fantasy 16, but I think they did really well because I feel like that was something a lot of people were pushing for. And I think at that point, Square Enix was like, all right, we're going to do this. You don't have a choice. And then at least the developers got the creative freedom to like do what they wanted to do. It felt like, at least. It's
funny because I do feel like selfish saying that, in the sense that I really don't want Kingdom Hearts 1 to be remade. And I've seen it. I've seen a visceral reaction from FF7 fans that just wanted their remake. They just wanted, just give me the remake in updated graphics, and just don't touch it. Leave it alone, please. Let it be, and just hand it to us as it is. And then here it comes. I mean, there's that kind of ridiculous excuse of like, oh, here's Nomura coming to ruin it, and with Kingdom Hearts bullshit, yada yada yada.
Right.
But like, here's me coming along going, well, I think that's really cool, only because I think it doesn't necessarily destroy the original. Like, it continues the story. It almost seems to acknowledge the original story happened.
The original, right?
But if you're trying to say that this is overriding, like, we are now changing the canon, and if you're a fan of the series, the canon's probably important to you. Sorry, I'm getting a call.
But no,
that's all good. And if this remake comes along and supposes, okay, now we're actually the true origin story of all this. And I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, you can just ignore that and go play the original if you want to. But
I guess, yeah.
Like,
that's literally what I'm saying.
Knows it exists and goes, well.
I guess, yeah. I guess sucks. As my old wise self is coming to learn, no, not really, but like, I think it is more of like, if you don't enjoy where the direction is going, you don't have to go for the ride. Like, I guess that's my take, which might be a little harsh, but I don't know. You can just tune it out, or like go offline, or just, go back to your not old game. Right? It's kind of old at this point, but like you can experience it again. It's just, I don't know. Like, why would you want to stop innovation? That's my whole thing. It's like, if you're rehashing the same things, and I know humans love to do that. Like, we don't like change. We like things being constant. That's why nostalgia is such like a actually, nostalgia was classified as a disease back in either the early 1900s or 1800s, maybe earlier than that. But it literally was a disease. Like, they were like, yeah, this is bad. This is bad for you. And now we're like glorifying it, which, I don't think it was a disease, but I think it is over glorified at this point. Like, I don't know. Like, I think you should focus on innovation, focus on making something better. And so if a remake is what that is, then sure, like make the game better, make it different, but like learn from what you made previously. If it's just the same thing, like I don't know, like isn't that
What's the point? Yeah, I
isn't that a waste of time? Like I guess for me, like that just seems like a waste of time. I know that people are gonna be so upset, so I apologize in advance, but that's just I don't know. Like I think you just
like I acknowledge
constantly
there's
be
a
moving
market for that
forward.
though. I just it doesn't make
Oh yeah.
any sense to
Oh
me
no,
personally.
totally.
Like, I mean, obviously, yeah. If you want to just make money, you want to bank on a recognizable IP. People are going to go spend their money on whether it's a movie or a game, what have you. Like, if it's just as cynical as that, okay, I suppose yes, you want to make your paycheck, fine. But like, good. I have not watched a single one of those Disney live action movies because I mean, not that I was a big fan of the originals or anything like that, but what as he says as the guy that plays Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I know. Well, I said last time I only watched Sleeping Beauty for the first time because I wanted to research it for Kingdom Hearts lore. Like, I mean, I guess I personally didn't grow up on them, but if I
only grew up on a couple of them. Yeah, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, but if I did, then if I wanted that nostalgia kick, couldn't I just put the original movie back on? Like,
exactly.
I really don't understand trying to tell
I'm
it
trying to think of something that I would enjoy. Right? Like, what would be something I would enjoy being remade? And I really can't. Lunch?
Yeah.
Like, the food?
Yeah.
Remade lunch? Actually, no. I I eat pretty much the same lunch every day. So
there you go. So there you go. You enjoy the lunch HD 1.5 remix.
I like consistency. That's different than nostalgia.
Yeah, but you're nostalgic for yesterday. No, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the same thing. And again, we're clearly not the people that these remakes are aiming for. Like the Last of Us 1, and I guess you said Horizon being remade, is the biggest joke to me of all time.
Oh, is Horizon being remade?
Didn't you said that to me?
Did I say that to you?
You did. Anyway.
Actually, no, I think you're right. I think Whale mentioned that to me that they were making it. And I was like, really?
Hilarious. Like, for what reason? They are perfectly serviceable games. The Last of Us only just received a remaster from the PS3, which was already probably one of the best looking games of its generation.
Yeah.
It receives a full graphical upgrade, and now it's like, oh no, we're going to spend all this time and money remaking it again for the PS5. And it's like,
But, okay, at that point, right, isn't that just a re-release?
No,
or is it actually
it's not remaster? A remaster. They're saying the way they were describing it, and again, I sort of read the articles and half read, maybe even
I read the titles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and sort of scoffed superiorly to myself, having not even bothered to read the article, and off I went with my day. But the way I was reading it, the way it was being described, is if it was a full, not a remaster, but a full like remake, changing the engine, changing a lot of things, updating a lot of character assets.
Yeah, I think they're using the engine of the second one.
Yeah, to redo number one. And it's like, boy, I like The Last of Us. Like, I platinumed it. I played it on PS3 and then platinumed it on PS4.
Damn.
I am, I feel like I'm a fan of that game. And then hearing it coming out again, I'm like, oh, just enough. Can you
Maybe it's because you platinumed it.
No, but like, let me be nostalgic for it. Like, you got me twice, right? I've got the PS3 and PS4 versions. It's not even that old. Like, what is it? How old is that game? I was playing it, I think, before maybe I just left high. I don't know. So maybe
8 years, maybe.
I'm gonna say closer to a decade, but I don't even know for sure. And it's come out like twice and now 3 times in that amount of time.
I mean, Skyrim is that's kind of more of a re-release though, but they've been releasing out in like everything, or they were for a time.
Sure, but I don't know how much money they're wasting on like, okay, we're really gonna change it up this time, you guys. Like, we're gonna go back into the engine and start dicking around. Like, a re-release on a different system is, I mean, it's basically a port at that point, right? Like, you've already done the work. Yeah. You just, again, to hilariously oversimplify, you just press the export to different system.
It is very much a simplification.
And then off you go. Like, you can expose yourself to an entirely new audience that can't already play the game. Like, okay, let's just for sake of argument, okay, yes, let's stick with Skyrim. Skyrim comes out on the Switch, a platform that couldn't support it before. Now it comes out on there, and it gets what? It gets the Master Sword and some Zelda-related items, what have you. Okay, it's not...
Oh, cool.
Tiny extra little assets. I'm sure didn't cost the world to make a port. Yeah, they probably had to, like, tone down the graphical fidelity slightly, maybe tweak the engine to make it run better. Again, this is me as an extreme layman talking here. But for a relatively small amount of work compared to creating an entirely new game, you've exposed yourself to a huge new installed platform. I feel like that makes sense.
Well, okay,
Everyone
I
can
guess
play The Last of Us on the PS4, on their PS5 right now. Every single person can do
right.
that. There is
Yeah.
no one going like, oh shit, if only it looks better. Why doesn't My Last of Us look better than it does already? Or play slightly different? I don't know.
Right.
I'm
I
sure
guess
there are
at
some
that
people.
point, like if you're okay, if you're saying right, like Skyrim was ported over and they, they made some new assets and they configured some things. I could see, right, because with COD, right, every time they make a new game, it's like a new engine, quote unquote, right? Like you've heard that.
Okay, yeah.
But it's more of an iteration of the engine. So it's not like old code can't run on the new code. You just have to tweak it a bit, is my understanding. So I'm almost wondering if it's the same thing with The Last of Us. Right? They update their engine, they add all this new functionality, but in the end, it kind of, it uses the same code base. So moving all the assets of the old one and just putting it on PS5 might not take as long or as many hours as it would like creating it from scratch.
Sure.
But then again, I don't know their whole process. I could definitely see them, remaking everything and going through all the effort of making it in their new engine just to kind of make more money. But I don't know. I didn't think about it like that before.
And again, like just to reiterate, like clearly I'm not the guy, like I barely have time for video games anymore, period, let alone like
How sad is that? Man, I'm in the same boat. It makes me sad.
like, so I don't know. I just feel like if you're going to do a remake, at least, and this is not a brave new opinion or anything, but like, can you just give it time for people to be nostalgic for it before you immediately try and now triple dip on a game that's not even a decade
You know
old?
what it is? I think it's more the fact that The Last of Us 2 bombed. I think they were just so like,
Did it?
they were trying to make their money back with the effort they spent, right? I loved The Last of Us 2, but I heard so many people hate it because of the first couple scenes. And it's like, I could definitely see, re-releasing your beloved game on PS5 as like a redeeming factor, right? Like they're like, oh wait guys, wait, we're releasing the original one. Come back, please. Give us another chance. Like at least that'll give them some money to put towards the next game or something.
As far as I know, it sold quite well. Yeah, I mean, just from a quick Google, like The Last of Us 2 sales topped 10 million copies, had one of the biggest PlayStation exclusive launches of all time.
Oh damn, okay.
Like I think it's done quite well, despite yeah, I mean, there's definitely a vocal minority that adamantly opposes that game. But I guess yeah, to your point, I wonder if like you've designed this new engine, and yeah, like you said, maybe it's not the most complicated thing in the world. Because yeah, I'm assuming, I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but did the engine evolve from the Last of Us 1 engine? In which case, like, okay, it's not crazy hard to then work it backwards and be like, all right, we'll put a few new tweaks into essentially the old system to bring it up to speed. And for, again, relatively cheaply, we can put it out on a new system and we catch anyone that didn't play it on the PS4, maybe jump ship over from the Xbox last generation. Now we've got a PS5. They're like, oh, look, The Last of Us, and it's the PS5 version. If I'm going to play it, this is the version I'll play. All right, I'll pick it up.
Well, I feel like even in the last like 10 or 20 years, right? And, I'm speaking as someone that, would be 6 years old 20 years ago, but like the rapid progression of development and gaming has been, like at first you would just be like hacking things together and making it work. Like you'd make specified things for that to work on that platform. And now at this point, you're making components and you're making rigs and you're making all these different things so that pieces can fit together nicely. Like that's the reason like I will I will praise Cage 3 for having like, I don't know, the most open, not one of the most open systems, but like that game is probably the best game to mod because it's just so easy to do it. And that's because, Unreal Engine 4 had this, everything's blueprint based or most everything. And if it's not, it's in C++, which can be reverse engineered. So it's like you just have this awesome platform to make things with. And it's because it's all like components and it's like all made to work nicely with each other, from like made to be modified, made to be changed and stuff like that. So like I definitely could see The Last of Us 2, how quickly they got The Last of Us 1 out. Like they have in mind, all right, how do we make this new engine something we can build off of, right? Like the fact they were able to push it out so quickly, just I think it's pretty telling that they made it with the mindset of, all right, what can we do more with this, right? I don't know. I went on a little tangent there.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, like computing, it definitely has gone like what, like, how can I make this reusable? How can I make it modular components? Any kind of container I can use, like also it can be kind of reduced and reused. And yeah, it's interesting to see that gaming was game development was, I feel like, pretty niche for a while. I mean, everybody made games, but like you had to be very technical and you had to know how to, write to screen or be careful of your buffer size, or, all this different stuff with the graphics engines and stuff like that. Like, and now it's gotten kind of extrapolated from that. I'm going way off topic, but it's really cool. That's all I want to say. It's really cool how better it's getting. Anyways,
how better it's getting. Yeah. I guess just to bring it, to center it back in Kingdom Hearts, right? So, like I said, it is quite hypocritical of me to walk in and it's like, now that I have the choice of, okay, if I want to play Chain of Memories, I have the choice of either, I guess, tracking down a Game Boy Advance in the original cartridge version, being a bit cheeky, maybe like I've done, and getting it to run on my 3DS. I'm sure there's mobile emulators that can do it as well. PC emulators that can do it.
I didn't even think about that.
If you want to play the original Chain of Memories, you have the avenue to do that. Or you have this official sanctioned remake, which was, made from predominantly Kingdom Hearts 1 assets or Kingdom Hearts 2 assets. I think it's the Kingdom Hearts 2 engine, but don't quote me on that. And it's great. Fully voiced cutscenes, fully acted out. Well, I guess they're not super high quality cutscenes because they're captured in whatever that sort of SD quality is. But the point is, it's a really great experience. And I would argue there are some purists, I would say, that would tell you to play the original Game Boy Advance version and swear by that. And I do like that version a lot. Like, having played it again recently on a 3DS, I really, really, really enjoy it. But I think the remake for almost everyone is going to be the preferred way to play.
It's just more accessible. The vast
majority of people. And yeah, accessibility through the roof, yeah. Even if you had the choice and they were both equally weighted options to play the original or the remake of it, I still think you'd still end up choosing the 3D version of it, this quote unquote remade version of it.
But yeah, I think Nomura has a very, now that I'm thinking about it, and maybe it's not Nomura, maybe it's the team that's behind those games, but it's like, Square Enix seems to have a really good understanding of what constitutes a remake. Like with, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rechain of Memories, Recoded, like these are all, games that have a predecessor, but they've changed it, I feel like, so much, or they've adapted it to the new hardware, or made it more accessible. Like, I mean, you could argue that making Birth by Sleep and Coded and all these different games on different platforms was kind of a cheeky business plan, right, to get everybody to get on different systems. But then they brought it back and made it more accessible to everybody on just one platform. And now it's not even the all-in-one story or whatever it's called. It's on Xbox, it's on PS4. I mean, you have all the games, I think, or maybe I think you have all the games on Switch now, even though it's it's streaming.
The cloud-based version, except for the Union Cross and Dark Road, everything's on Switch,
right?
Through cloud-based, so like Melee Memory, which is
I know people hate. Yeah, I don't know people hate the streaming slot like that, but I don't know. I will always harken back to my original statement is it's gonna be bad, but you got to start somewhere. I think that's like, I don't know, my stance on most things. It's like, if you want to try something new and it's going to be bad, at least start it. Like, at least get something out there, right? Because it's not going to get better unless you have people testing it and playing it and figuring out what's wrong with it. And like, I don't know. Yeah, you can argue that they're a multi-million-dollar company and they could have done better, but at least they did something new. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it was for money, but at least it's on Switch. People that don't have PS4s or Xboxes, at least they can experience it in some way. People may argue that a bad experience is worse than no
Yeah,
experience,
potentially
which
more harmful to the series than a good one if you're suffering through lag the entire time and not really having a great
yeah.
go with it. But
But I don't know. At least you can try it. I don't know. I can see the argument against it, but again, I think it's better than nothing. Like, you don't have to buy it on the Switch. Like, if you for all the reviews, then you know to stay away. If you haven't and you buy it, well, you're out $60, or I don't know how much it is on Switch, but it's not too expensive for having all the games.
I mean, we can talk about the Switch ports. I don't know. We can talk about it now, but like,
Yeah, no,
I don't know. I
I'm
guess
good.
just super quickly, like, I don't know. I guess the main consensus is that it's a very cynical take of like, essentially, if you're just running a cloud-based version of the PC, that's what it is, right? It's a PC that's running presumably the PC versions with a Nintendo Switch Code of Paint being streamed to a Switch, and I don't know, when other series have clearly put in the legwork. I mean, like The Witcher and even going back to Skyrim are great examples of, okay, they've put in the work to make these arguably far more complicated games work natively on the Switch. And, okay, Kingdom Hearts 3, again, this is very much a layman talking here, but Kingdom Hearts 3 is probably the biggest one that would take the most effort to get running on the Switch. But what is the excuse for the earlier
I would
titles?
argue, yeah, I would argue it wouldn't be. I think their engines aren't optimized for Switch. Like, they're very much optimized for PlayStation hardware. So I think it would take more time to get it working on Switch than an Unreal port.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I think Melody of Memory is the only one that's
Native on
native.
Switch, yeah.
No, not native. It's Unity,
Well,
but
yeah, I guess.
yeah.
You can buy a cartridge and pop it in your Switch.
Oh, I didn't realize I had a cartridge. That's cool.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
So
think.
we've got.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
go
was
on.
gonna say cloud gaming again, but like, I think it's a cool idea. It's obviously not fleshed out. I think one day it could be, but there's some hurdles we got to get through first. But this isn't a tech. This isn't a tech blog.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was trying to say, like, if I'm coming into the series and, now 20 years past its release, I have the luxury of going, okay, well, there's certain remakes that have already been made, and that I feel like they delayed the release of Kingdom Hearts 3 by the nature of their existence. But there's been tremendous benefits to that because it's opened the accessibility doors wide open. People are now able to play the 1.5, 2.5, 2.8 collections, and whether it's on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, in heavy quotation marks, and PC, you can play the entire series more or less in one place at this point.
Yeah.
Bar the mobile games. And yeah, did that delay the release of Kingdom Hearts 3? I feel like it had to have. I feel like you can't, at least there was some content coming out in those years, even if it was a remake. A remaster. But it had to have taken some attention away from the development of 3. And yeah, in hindsight, I don't really care too much now because I've got 3, but now looking forward on the horizon, where I'm always hungry for new Kingdom Hearts content. Like, I feel like, for me, a huge part of the series is, I mean, it's 3 huge pillars, right? Like, I love the music, I love the gameplay, and I love the story of this series so much. And if we stagnate on the story by doing these remakes, I feel like that's where, I don't know, that's, for me, it's a really important pillar of the entire series. It's probably, I think the most important pillar. Like, I love the gameplay,
Yeah.
but I think
Oh,
I
it's the
like
story.
thinking
Yeah.
of the story and theorizing with it and talking with you guys. And granted, that's obviously, I have a YouTube channel based around that. I'm clearly biased. Like, I'm not someone
Yeah.
that does speedruns or
What, you
whatever
were
and plays the game over and
captivated?
over again.
You were captivated by the Union Cross gameplay?
Were you not?
Actually, I think you were. Or were you not?
I mean, it was a fun puzzle being free to play where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
can I actually do this? Is it possible to achieve this? And the answer is yes, but there was a lot of luck involved.
At what cost?
But the point is, like, okay, I don't know if it's like selfish now, but I'm pleased right now. It's like, okay, they've spent this time in the past on remakes, and the community gets huge benefits from that. Like, anyone coming into the series now gets the red carpet rolled out for them. You pick up like one little set of discs, and bang, you've got 20 years of stuff in your hand right now. Go load up YouTube, get the rest, easy peasy. And now you're a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to buy Kingdom Hearts 4. Now you're like set for everything you need. You don't have to go hunting down on various consoles, whatever. I guess where I'm getting at is, should they now spend more effort? Like, because, okay, the biggest one that I hear people clamoring for a remake is Days. Like, that's the only one where I feel like, okay, Days is the only game that has a real case of like deserving to be remade more than anything else. I feel like Kingdom Hearts 1 shouldn't be touched. It's perfect as is. It's got a remaster with updated assets. But Days, the gameplay is just dog shit. It just sucks. Like, I love the series. I love the story. Days gameplay fucking sucks. I played it twice. It's the worst. Okay. It's just awful. Like,
so you want them to change the gameplay?
So if they're gonna change anything, yeah. If there's any game that deserves to be remade from the ground up, like, I don't think the assets are savable. I think it's too low quality. It looks just awful. Like, well, I mean, I don't know. It's possible to scale it up. Like, there's HD mods for it, but it's not going to be a port. Like, you can't just port it over like you could with, the high quality assets of Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance. You can't do that. You're going to have to remake this thing from the ground up. If anything deserves to be remade, like I said, because the story is great and the Days movie does a decent job of summarizing it, but a 3-hour movie,
I feel like they miss a lot.
Trying to take the place of not gigantic, but a much longer game with its, maybe more subtleties and nuances and time to flesh out all the characters, that it's not a perfect replica. Whereas I feel like the remasters do a great, obviously they're almost a one-to-one, complete experience of the originals. Days is the only one I feel like I said, I'm repeating myself now, but Days is the one where it's like, okay, I could see a case being made for that.
I think, I could be off. I can't remember exactly what this was, but I feel like Nomura said in an interview that, like, the game was designed to be played once a day kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of like your Pokemon Go mission or whatever. There's no Pokemon Go mission. It's a mission-based game. So, like, you play on the train.
You go into work, you're playing it on the train. Yeah, you put it in your pocket. You do one mission. It takes you 7 minutes. You go, okay, cool. Put it back in your pocket, and you pick it up on the way home again. Yeah, sure.
So I feel like it's conducive to that kind of gameplay.
Sure.
Again,
is that the best way of telling the story though? And I get it. Like, if you,
I think it is.
If you feel yourself going into work every day, sure, okay. But then does the movie do a good job of summarizing that?
The whole story is about repetitive stuff, right? Like, you're doing it day in, day out, just doing the same thing, the repetitive thing, and then then it like, I don't know. Like, I feel like you get. Like, the workmates I work with, it's like, I didn't know them when I first started like a month or two ago, but now, like, we're not like the best of friends, but it's like, that constant just being around the same, like the monotony of it. It's like, oh, now I know this person. Like, and I feel like they do that really well with the Days. Like, if you played that game every day, like, or like how you're supposed to, and you like become friends with like Axel and Shion, and it's like, all right, now I'm used to seeing them every day, and then it's like, oh, well, now one's missing, and now you're playing it every day to be like, all right, when's Axel coming back? Or when's Shion coming back?
And the one thing you have to look forward to in your real life is getting to, like, okay, I can finally clock off, get to go to my favorite spot, hang out with my favorite people, do my favorite thing. Yeah. I can definitely understand that. It's
really captured well, I feel like.
So then does the movie do a good job of summarizing that feeling?
No. Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't, right? No. That's what I'm getting at. Like,
remaking the gameplay, though, will fix how you're meant to experience it.
I mean, I can tell you right now, I sure as hell didn't play it by going in on a train every single day and playing it a little bit after school.
Right.
I played it, however many hours a night I had free until I was done with it. And then I can fully understand the intention. Like, it's the same thing where, okay, you can, I don't know, let's say, okay, like Tarantino doesn't expect these movies to be watched on a cell phone while you're on an airplane, for example, but people are going to experience the media how they're going to experience it. And you can have all the intentions that you want. Once it's out in the wild, though, it becomes its own beast. And I don't know. Like, I still feel like Days, whether it was intentioned to be this grindy, monotonous thing or not, shouldn't come at the cost of it not being a fun game. And there is a fun game to be had there. You just make Roxas' combat a bit more fun, flesh out the worlds a bit, make them explorable if you want to, whatever it has to be. I mean, they are semi-explorable now, but like, there are ways to make the gameplay infinitely better. Like, the biggest problem with it, I feel like, is that the bosses are just, these huge HP gates. Like everyone has like horrendous
Yeah.
memories of the Dusk Flyer that's sitting at the top of Twilight Town at the very the Twilight Town clock tower at the very end of the game. The Leech Grave in Halloween Town. Like there are just these bosses
The
that
Neverland
just
boss.
suck. Yep, him, 100% him. It's not fun. You have a 3-hit combo and you get a couple spells you can bring with you. They
Yeah.
do maybe 0.1% of his HP, and then you go, oh boy, now I get to hit X a million times and
Yeah, okay.
chop
I
away
can
his
get behind
HP.
that.
Make that more
But
fun, and then the rest of the game's fine. Like you can still keep your monotonous structure if you want to, or if you're going to remake it, get creative and find a way of keeping that structure while also being in the context of a more traditional game.
Yeah. But I think I like Kingdom Hearts is one of the only series I know. Was that correct grammar? That I feel like they still experiment with their games, right? Like Nomura, I feel, or maybe not Nomura, but like the team behind Kingdom Hearts, I feel like are, they're very, they think on what kind of experience they want. Maybe not for the mainline titles, right? Those are definitely way more accessible, but all the ones that are like side games, like BBS, the Grind Fest, you have Recoded, which is like, one of the best games ever. There's so much different, variables that you can play with, like setting your HP on low to get more rewards or setting the difficulty up or down, like all this stuff to affect gameplay. Like that's so cool. And then you have Days, which is like, mimicking your daily life, getting you attached to these people and then playing around with, the different relationships and just emotions that come from that. And it's, I don't know, like it's in the card game, even like Chain of Memories, like you're now playing and you have to abide by these rules in a game within a game. Like, I don't know. And even you can make the argument for Union Cross or Key or, all the different iterations of that. Like, this is a platform they have where they can just experiment with whatever kind of technology that they want to and make a game out of it. And I feel like that's really, really cool. And I feel like, so if you're going to remake them for like PlayStation or something, I feel like you're going to miss out on those mechanics that you bring with those concepts. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you were going to do Days, how would you get creative to then capture that experience that we're talking about, but bring it into a more modernized system? And
yeah,
I said, I don't know that the movie, which is, I guess, the currently accepted way of consuming Days, or the currently officially accepted way of consuming Days, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to be like, oh, if you want to experience Days, track down a DS and track down a copy of the cartridge and blah, 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 try and play it. Like, the method they have given you to take in that story, which we all acknowledge is important for the overall plot of the series, is watch this movie, right? If again, I don't think they should, but if they were going to actually remake Days, I agree with you. Like, I'd want there to be some sort of creativity to like capture the spirit of it while still making it enjoyable to play. I don't think because just because your day job sucks doesn't mean the video game I play when I come home from the day job should suck as well. I don't think that I've seen people in Twitch chat, it's meant to be bad, it's meant to be shit. No, it's not. That video game should never, I don't care what your grand design is, a video game should never just be dog shit for the sake of being dog shit, unless like it's a gimmick game that is like, there's a Steam game, check this one out, it's a wink wink nudge nudge nudge. Like, that's not, you will never be able to convince me, no one will be able to convince me that they were trying to make Days' gameplay intentionally monotonous. They just didn't put enough like combat flair into Roxas himself, that if they just spiced it up a bit, it'd still be fun to play while feeling like a grind. Like, Roxas cannot like it. Roxas can be like, I'm talented at this, but I hate it. Like, I'm being forced to go out and fight every day. I'm amazing at it, I'm a goddamn savant, but it just sucks. I'm just all I use me for is my epic Keyblade abilities and skills, and wish there was more to life than just doing sick, insane backflip combos, air stepping into them, doing triple backflips, launching out of fire arc, like, you can still make it fun. He doesn't have to enjoy it. He can still think of it as a grind.
I don't know. I think the
developers went, okay, he only gets a 3-hit combo and maybe you press Y every now and then, and that's by design. We're not allowing any more fun. Maybe you can bring 7 fire spells with you. Or 3 fire
I think
guys.
2 was their first game on DS. But they had developed for GBA, so But the
Yeah.
GBA was a lot different. That was like a, that was a card game in
How many
essence.
slates did
Like,
you have in the GBA version? I'm just saying, like, just variety in combat. I feel like the biggest Daisy's biggest downfall. It just feels like it's
but I
just
mean, Sora still only had a 3-hit combo there too, right?
yeah, sure,
You
but then you
can,
get infinite slates you can muck around with and play that way if
well,
you
I
want
mean,
to. You
with
don't. You're not
Roxas,
forced.
you have all the different gear you can equip. Like, you get different
Great, a
combos from
slightly
those.
different 3-hit combo instead of okay, now I
I
can do
mean,
Ars Arcanum, now I
but
can do
you're saying the
Ragnarok, now
same
I can
thing
do
though with
Strike Raid, now I can
slates.
do Blizzard Raid, now I can summon Genie or Cloud or Simba or whatever. You have infinitely more options to create your entire deck with in Chain of Memories than yeah, you have a slot system in Days where you can pop in your level ups and you can pop in your spells that you bring with you. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I clicked X and I did a Fire Araga spell. Oh, it was slightly different just because it went up in a little arc and then landed versus
I mean,
Fire,
that is
which launched a
differences
slow
though.
fireball in front of me.
With GBA though, right? You had to there you had one screen to play with, and then in the DS you had, I think, did they
Two.
try to utilize both screens, or was the bottom one just a map?
It would every now and then, also in actual gameplay, like running around itself, it would give you, I think, mission objectives.
Oh yeah, when it flickered out
and then
Sora, right?
that was very cool when they did that. So I grant you, when they do cool things like that, yeah, awesome.
Well, see, I think it's about the experience, right? Like, the gameplay was backseat to the experience. I think that's what it was.
And, that's,
which
and
you
I
can
agree with you. I
argue-
think that's what happened. I think the gameplay fell
Yeah.
away, and they had this really cool story that is unfortunately now trapped on a DS.
Yeah.
And half of it escaped and got onto, other systems through this movie.
Which, the movie was not.
But it did its best.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how long can you expect people to sit there for? Like 3 hours, and plus you can pause and read the notes if you want to. And there's the diaries you can unlock as well and go and read them afterwards as well if you want to. But it
Is it really
can't-
3 hours?
Yep, it's 3 hours. You can't possibly summarize an entire game in that of that story complexity in that 3 hours. And they tried. They did the best. I'm not gonna fault them for that.
Yeah. No. I mean, they completely animated all of that, right? Like, that wasn't from the games, was it?
God no, that's all 100%
Yeah.
newly created.
And same for Recoded, right? I think they did the same thing.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I know a lot of people, I think, hate Recoded because of the movie, because they're like, this doesn't make any sense. There's no story to this, and it's like, it's so good though. Like, there's so much more to it. Like, I don't know. we can talk about that later.
I feel like Recoded has, I said, less grounds to be remade.
It just incorporates datascapes, like the essence of where we're heading in Kingdom Hearts right now. Like, that was introduced there, and it was so well represented, and they discussed so many different things with data and consciousness and minds, and it's so good.
Well, I'd
Anyways,
argue it was
sorry.
introduced in KH2. Like, obviously, Roxas is being stored in this virtual datascape. But yeah, like, it really...
Right.
I feel
Yeah.
like its main purpose was to flesh out the mechanics of, like, okay, this is a datascape. This
Exactly,
is a virtual
yeah.
person can exist, yada, yada, yada. Which, yeah, we're
And a
seeing
book
now.
can
Like,
exist.
Union
Yeah.
Cross dives into that heavily. Kingdom Hearts 3 does heavily.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure it's going to be more important going forward. But it functions more as a, like... It's almost like a definition.
The movie does. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, the movie does, yeah. But no. I think the overall story does. The overall story is like, I mean, who really gives a shit about any of the events of Recoded? Like,
No, that's exactly
the most
it.
important scene
Because-
was added in after the fact. It wasn't even in the original game. Like, it was only added into the cutscene movie where Maleficence is like, oh, a datascape. Book, diary, book of prophecies. Yeah, that's, and they just shoehorn this
yeah.
extra cutscene into the end. Like, the overall story of Recoded is not super important. Like, at the end of the day, Mickey writes a letter to Sora saying, "Hey, there's these people we have to rescue. We got a clue from your data. There's people we have to rescue."
Yes. It's so interesting.
But
It's so interesting. Like, how did that data get put there? Like,
well, Ansem
the
said in
fact that
Kingdom
you
Hearts
can
2, I stored in Birth by
Exactly.
Sleep while the
Like,
boy
isn't
slept
that
his
so
long
cool?
sleep. It's great.
like,
Does it need to be a whole game
It
to
just
be like
opens up the
data
world
exists?
into this wide, vast, just this new experience of, like, wow, I've never thought about Kingdom Hearts in this way. I don't know. It's just
Okay, so counter argument. So Chain of Memories is very similar, right? It's a lot of rehashing Kingdom Hearts 1, but
Yep.
the interstitials, so in between the Disney worlds, you have essentially a very similar thing in memories. But while that's happening, you're getting the story woven to you by the organization and the betrayal and yada, 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 yada. So it's still the same basic structure. Plot is happening before, Disney World plot, Disney World plot, Disney World plot. But I'd argue Chain of Memories is infinitely more interesting, even though it's basically the same thing. You go to a Disney World that you've been to before, you're still dealing with a new concept because at the time you have no idea what memory is, but you're being spoon-fed, here is how it works, how it functions, here's its relationship to the rest of the mechanics in this world.
Okay.
And at the
if
end...
you're talking strictly about the story, I think that's a little... Because I think that's why Recoded doesn't work as a movie, because it is so...
Who gives a shit?
Kind of...
For 90% of it.
That's a comment. But I think what Recoded, and I need to think about this more, because I feel like I've had a lot of thoughts in my head about how
ambushing you.
Yeah, I didn't properly get prepared for this argument. But yeah, like the gameplay.
Gameplay's great.
Today's.
I'm not talking about gameplay. I love the gameplay.
It enhances. Well, okay, but it enhances the storytelling because you're experiencing it in a whole new lens, right? Like in Wonder is it Wonderland? Wonder World? What is it called?
Wonderland, yeah.
Wonderland. What the hell? Okay. In Wonderland, like you're on rails. I guess it's like
in the
shooter
boss fight. In the boss fight, you are, yeah.
Well, okay, yeah. I'm talking mostly about the boss fights because I think that's where they mostly change the flows. Or actually, I think in Olympus you're an RPG. Yeah, like Olympus is like the turn-based Final Fantasy with Cloud.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I just feel like there's so much variability to it that it makes the story exciting to experience, right? You have all these different ways to play the game now. And even though you know what's going to happen, or at least you know like kind of what's happening, you've experienced it before. It's almost like, right, Data Sora. Us as Sora have already experienced it, but now Data Sora is experiencing this in the Datascape, which can have different rules as we've seen, and manipulate the world around you so that the experience is different, even though it's the same experience.
I mean, I feel like at that point, you have to include new varieties of gameplay, because are people really going to play through the Disney Worlds again as Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora? I am a gigantic Kingdom Hearts fan. I think I might have mentioned that to you at one point.
Maybe once.
Even the announcement of Coded is like, are you absolutely kidding me? Like, we're doing Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora going through Kingdom Hearts Worlds with a Kingdom Hearts story again, being loosely dressed up in this other mechanic. It's like, holy shit, they're really doing it.
But
I feel like you have to make it different. Like,
right.
Because that's why they're like, okay, well, we'll spice it up a bit for our own sanity, so we don't have to design the same stupid boss fight of hit Hades 3 times as he yells, gotcha, oh, this one's like, as James Woods yells at you, like, okay, we'll make it a turn-based RPG this time. Like, there's something interesting to do instead of playing through the same shit over and over again.
But it's like a simulation, right?
It wasn't encoded. Encoded was a simulation. It wasn't a simulation. It didn't have an RPG element there. It was just coded. It was just more Kingdom Hearts 1, up, down, left, right on the D-pad, hit the button, left, right, right.
I didn't play coded. And that again goes back to like, right, I didn't play the original. I can't really make a comment on it. I really did enjoy the remake. So I don't know. Maybe going back, maybe if I had experienced coded and then recoded, I would have been like, man, I love remakes.
Yeah, and so I like Recoded. Like, I enjoy playing the gameplay. I feel like the command deck is the best it's ever been in Recoded. Yeah. And I wish it had followed through to
trees.
DDD.
Yeah.
Everything about it, it's just the connection of like you chain commands together so nicely, and there's not like that gigantic wall that just, I feel like whenever you do a command in Birth by Sleep, you just like, and stop, and force you, and like you have these delay frames that just hold you in place forever. And DDD's the same way. DDD's like, do your cool thing, stop, on a, like, just come to a grinding halt. All right, now you can do your next thing. It just, I played it again the other night, because I think Whale was playing it on stream, and I wanted to like, oh yeah, I still have never earned the trophy for like getting max affinity in every single spirit. I'm like, oh, okay.
Wait, you haven't platinumed every?
No, platinum. I platinumed it, but there's like in-game trophies for
Oh God, no, like, Dama
bonding with every single spirit. Yeah, and that's where I was like, even I'm going to draw the line there. But I saw Whale playing it. I was like, I haven't played DDD in forever. I'm going to load it up, and it's just.
I remember playing that on DS.
it's not as
and
nice
seeing
to
those
move around in.
trophies.
I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel. But
Really?
the point is they nailed it in coded. I feel like that feels great to play. So I'm a RE coded gameplay sympathizer for sure, and I think getting to do interesting things in each world carries you through the story enough. Like you're not super invested, whatever. You get the little tiny bits of
Oh, but the story is
information.
interesting too.
You get the bits of
Yeah.
information that are relevant between the worlds. Do you really care about the plight of Data? Yeah, okay, he's got a few cool moments. That's great. It's ultimately for nothing though, because they abandon him in this data hellscape where he can never escape from. They never bring him back.
Or
They
did
never try and do
they?
anything with him.
Is he not the Kingdom Hearts 3
I guess, but
Data
they don't
Sora?
acknowledge it. It'd be nice if they were at least like, hey, it's Data. Nope, they don't say shit. It's like, Riku, go and control this guy that's, as far as we know, fully sentient and probably doesn't like being trapped in hell, where he can never get past the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. But
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. See, well, that's the other thing that's interesting, right? There's now, is there more than one? Well, there has to be, right? There has to be more than one Data Sora, right? Like, how? And if one Data Sora could grow a heart and summon a Keyblade, doesn't that mean every Data Sora can create their own heart and summon a Keyblade? Like, just that concept, like that just opens up this idea of like, I mean, they're probably never gonna do that, like, right? They have to have some, I don't know, line or something, but like, I don't know. I think that's pretty fascinating to have.
well, I mean,
Well, and the idea that like this, Sora is the same Sora, like he's true to himself even though he knows he's fake. Like what? That's just so interesting. I don't know.
yeah, that's cool. I mean, and to your point, like, I mean, my theory is that they are going to use data stuff going forward. Like, I mean, how are they going to revive Strelitzia? Like, I feel like, well, the answer is pretty clear. Like, Lucy went in and stole her data. Well, stole may be the wrong word, but as far as I can tell, that has a pretty good shot at being the true dandelion that he sent away in that time travel pod
Right.
in Union Cross. Like, we saw someone in a black coat stealing what looked like Strelitzia's data, leading it through the data world, and then we see Lucius sending something in a white coat forward through time, and then we see Strelitzia showing up in the Quadratum. It's like, well,
Well, we see someone showing up in Marluxia's dreams.
exactly, yeah. I mean, it feels like there is evidence that data people can be used to restore the originals.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, they could go and take that and say, okay, well, how do we get Sora back? Can Data Sora be involved? Like, yeah, sure. But I don't know. And that, yeah, retroactively, that will give, if that happens, then RE coded gets more importance retroactively. But like, as it is right now, I feel like that is the only game where if people are like, I just want to skip RE coded, just tell me what happens. I could be like, yeah, all right. This one time, I'll let you skip RE coded.
Okay. I think that's where Days focuses heavily on the concept and the monotony and like puts aside the gameplay. I feel like Recoded is like, all right, gameplay is at the forefront, and then we're gonna make the story around it. And I feel like it they went into it with, and this is my interpretation of it, obviously, but I feel like they went into it with the mind of, all right, we need to tell them about datascapes and how they function in the world. And we've already told them the same story over and over with the same characters and the same worlds. Let's make it interesting. Let's make the gameplay the fun part of it. And then when you make that into a movie, then it's like, well, this game sucks. But it's like, no, the game is really cool. And the way they tell the story, I feel like is really cool.
So you'd also argue that, yeah, if you're going to experience RE coded, the movie is probably not the best way to do that.
Yeah, definitely not.
I 100% agree with you. I think RE coded is worth playing, like actually playing the game.
Definitely.
If you just want to get through it, yeah, watch the movie. But you are missing out a lot, and I agree. Like, Days the same way.
If you want to get through it, I mean, they literally have cheats in the game built in as a function. You can just turn it on easy mode, give yourself like infinite health. And I don't think it's infinite health, but you can have skyrocket your health, lower the damage or higher the damage you do to people, lower the enemy level. It's so, and maybe it's because like you can have your own little function pathway in it. It's cool.
I remember, yeah, it was so awesome. Cool. No, I liked it a lot. But I meant get through it in the sense of like, okay, if you just you see Kingdom Hearts 3 on the horizon and you're like, okay, how do I do I need to experience every single one of these titles on the way there? And again, I would argue yes, but RE Coded is the only one where I'm like, okay, if you must skip a game, I think that's the one I volunteer up and go, all right, it's this
Yeah, I
one.
think I don't know. Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so
but
again, to that point, if they're like, okay, we're announcing a remake collection, we're going to remake Days and RE Coded from the ground up. It's going to set back Kingdom Hearts 4 by a year, but we're going to do it because we feel like we want to really tell these stories well. Are you going, yes? Or are you going, no, shit?
nah, to me, okay, maybe Days, maybe Recoded. I feel like is great. I feel like you don't need to touch that game. Even Days, I feel like the experiences are there for a reason. Like they're made with
To be
that
bad. They're
intention.
made to be
Like they're
bad.
made
They're
with
made to make you
intentions.
suffer and have not a good time with it.
No, I think
The more is
they
like,
just have
we're going to make a
they had a
game
concept they
that
wanted to
feels
execute,
so awful to play. It's going to be like just like going to work every day.
and it does that really well.
Awesome.
I don't.
Because copies going to fly off the shelves. It's like Work Simulator without any of the charm behind it. It's just
Well, that's
misery.
pretty popular.
Misery.
Yeah, you get the farm sims, but I definitely no, I would say nix the projects for remakes. Focus on the new exciting thing. Like we're going into a whole new saga. Like, and you want to spend more time on the Ansem or the Secret of Darkness. Like his story sadly is over. Let's move on to the Lost Master saga. Let's see what's on. Like there's so many exciting things happening, and like I would rather they just let go of any remake plans and just focus on even if that means like we won't get games for a year or 3 or 4 or whatever, but like just focus on the new stuff. I feel like that's just so much better.
And that's what I was trying to
Use
get
of
at the
time
start.
and
I think
resources.
we're both in agreement with that. Where again, the story being one of these huge pillars that I love in the series. What I was trying to say with that is that I would never ever want a remake to come in the way of new story content. Like rehashing the old
Yeah.
makes zero sense to me when we could all be having something new together that we've never experienced. It makes zero sense to go, actually, let's go back and do, like I said, the only one I could ever even make the slightest case for is Days. Leave Kingdom Hearts 1 alone. Leave it the absolute hell alone. It's fine as is. And again, if you want that experience in a slightly new engine, the fans are going to do that for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now the problem is, I think, in Union Cross and Dark Road, where these things only recently come out, and people are already clamoring for a remake of that. And clearly I'm biased here because, I've, well, even before I announced what I was doing with Union Cross and Dark Road, I still thought it was a perfectly acceptable medium on its own. Like, it's not ideal, but we don't live in a world where every single creative has the infinite budget and freedom and time to do whatever they want. And let's hypothetically say they never wanted to experiment in the mobile space at all, and they wanted to make it a 3D action game just like all the rest of the series. I don't know. Yeah, maybe they would. They sure they would have done that. Sure, with infinite time and infinite money. Because let's not be let's be as cynical as we want here. I'm sure they're in the mobile space to make really huge amounts of money for a relatively low investment compared to, the 4 or 5 year development cycle for a AAA.
I never understood gacha game. Yeah.
And again, I don't think it necessarily works on us. Like, I feel the temptation, but I don't succumb to that, whereas other people do. And it's not that I don't have my own vices, but
yeah,
it
just makes me sad that people would even consider doing that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, sure, and I fully agree. Like, I look at Kingdom Hearts. I look at like the Dragon Ball Dokkan game, for example, and it's like, I see that as such a terrible, like, it's just feeding on your basic nostalgia and fear of missing out, and like to give you nothing. Like, you get nothing from it, and it goes away the second the services go down. But even before that, it's just psychological manipulation. And like, I mean, this is clearly not an accident. It's explicitly designed to do this, but it's like, here's what your friends have. They have this, they got this, they got past this. Here's how cool their one is. Why don't you have it? You should have it as well. You're going to get left behind if you don't. Like, all these ways of just tugging at you and making you try and feel bad for not having latest thing that will get outclassed I mean, in the case of Union Cross, because it was terribly balanced, get outclassed in a week, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But even the ones where your units or your cards or your medals or whatever last a lot longer, it's like, well, they're only in the shop for this, 2 weeks. Better get them now. Better get them quick. Better get them now. Oops. Didn't get it. Spend another $100. Like, reload your fake fucking bullshit currency. Try again. Try again. Like,
Yeah.
they're all like this. And where I sort of diverted a little bit there, but the idea was that, obviously, yeah, it's a mobile game to make money. And that's the platform it was designed for. They picked this, nice little storybook aesthetic. And they went ahead and told their story. And you had guys like me here who are like, if you want to get this story, you can do it. You have to dedicate time to the game. And if you don't want to spend money, you have to dedicate time to the game, but you can do it for free. Yeah, you might need a little bit of luck, but overall, and especially by the end, they were throwing currencies at you. And if you were smart with them, you could get through. It wasn't super fun for a lot of people. It was just like, okay, that's a game where you logged in and did your daily chores. Like, that was like, oh god, all right, I need my 30 joules from this. I need my 200 joules from this.
Yeah,
like, all right, get my spreadsheet out.
I just remember playing that game without a party at first. I just was, just doing my own thing. And the amount of joules you miss out per week, you get like 1,000 a week, right?
Something like that, yeah. By the time they introduced those
like
weekly rewards in, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got in way late. But just once I realized I'd missed out on like thousands of joules, and I'm like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah, no, there was definitely like an optimal way to play it, which is not necessarily the fun way. Like, if people just want to drop in, play a little bit here and there, not set friggin' timers and play at specific intervals and be like, okay, whoops, better drop my life because I need to do my friggin' raids here. I need to get, at least five and a half raids today, or else I'm not going to make my quota. Like,
yeah, about
I'm
that.
not arguing that's fun. I'm not for a minute arguing this is a great way to play. I'm just saying,
I still have my Lux alarm at 11 p.m. I won't get rid of it on my alarm clock. So I don't know. It was like a happy memory I have of like, oh, there it is, time to hit the raid button or the Lux boost button and go do 1 or 2 raids, even though I probably should have done a lot more, but yep, that's still on my phone.
Oh man. So I guess where I was going with that is like, yeah, you have this system, this mobile gaming system, which the game was like, if you wanted to tell a story, they integrated it relatively well in terms of like, okay, yeah, you're one of many people here working as this great big team, and you're one of 5 teams that are working towards this overall goal, and that is your incentive for doing your grinding stuff. Like, you're getting Lux because in this kind of nice meta way, like, you're afraid of falling behind and you get better rewards if you succeed, and you're worried about the other team getting ahead of you, and yada yada yada. Like, you have and oh shit, I'm falling behind, I better succumb to more and more dubious methods of gaining power, whether that's falling to darkness and trusting that dark charity, or it's opening up your wallet and going, well, time to drop, time to buy VIP, time to buy Jewel Pack E, and get those extra jewels that I need to get that stupid Kari medal because it breaks the game every time it comes out.
Right. Well, even that, right? Like, they stick to a concept and they do well at executing it, right?
I agree.
Like, the whole concept of that game was like, you're in your unions and you're all trying to get more power. Like, you're literally all trying to just get more and more so that you can get more Lux for your, like, the idea was get more Lux because we're the ones that are right. We're the ones that are, doing this for the greater good.
We can only at least trust ourselves. We can't trust anyone else, but we know we're doing the right thing, so we have to stay ahead of everyone else, which everyone is thinking.
It's just like, in that concept of like, I need to always be the best. I need to get better. I need to have the best gear. Like, I mean, they did it well. Like, I don't know. Like, it's cool. It's kind of gross, but like, they still executed like every other game they've done, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I feel like the concept very much informed the story, which it should be how it works. Like, I agree with you there. Yeah. And I don't, going back to your early point, I don't disagree with you that Days is meant to be this monotonous thing where you play it for a little bit at a time. I fully agree with you in that. Union Cross does feel very much the same, or Key, and then Union Cross feels very much the same way. It's like, you do feel that pressure. I had alarms. I had multiple alarms each day. It's like, all right, oh shit, now I gotta do this, now I gotta do this, now I gotta do this. And it really did feel like a job and a chore a lot of the time. And I know that's where modern gaming is heading, but it doesn't really feel great. It's not like, oh, cool, I'm a slave to this stupid little thing in my phone where it beeps at me and now I have
Yeah.
to press a button. Like, am I getting enjoyment out of this, or am I just so committed at this point that I don't want to
Yeah.
let go of how much time I've already spent, thus committing the sunk cost fallacy and staying in longer and longer and longer, thus making it harder
Yeah.
and harder to leave each time. Like, I don't really like that. If I'm
Wait,
honest with you.
there's that game too that's coming out that's like literally a working simulator. Like you get different jobs, right? I think it's on Switch that's coming out soon.
Okay.
Where you literally like or I don't remember what jobs you can do, but it's I think it's literally like a working life simulator. It's like interesting. That's so oh, I think even I guess Sims is a little bit different, but it's not like Sims, I don't think. I think it is like get a job in a city and work and sleep, stuff like that.
Like, there have always been
Very
like life sims like that have at least some sort of fun element to it, or they might maybe
yeah,
like
like you got to make it fun
satirical
somehow.
to it, or like a parody of it. But
Right.
there is some fun to be had there, and even if it's, I don't know, I guess I feel like it's different to the increasingly like online aspect of games, like the live service where you need to
Yeah.
get your dailies and you need to do this at this time and you need to get this before it goes away forever, and it like they are becoming a job without any of the actual fun parts behind it. Like, you almost play the
Yeah.
game out of obligation rather than, I want to play it when I want to play it. Oh, okay, I've got some free time this weekend. I've been looking forward to it all week. I really want to play some Union Cross. No, you've had to play it 7 times this week already at specific time intervals when the
Yeah.
game beeps at you, because if you don't, you won't have enough jewels for when the next big Kyrie medal comes out, unless you want to dip into your wallet. So it's
Yeah.
playing out of,
It's very predatory.
yeah, it really is. And like, Union Cross is probably, I've seen some games that go leaps and bounds beyond
Oh,
the
yeah.
depravity
No,
that Union
totally.
Cross had.
I played Nino Kuda. Nino Kudi? I can't
Yeah.
remember what it's called. Crossworlds or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And I played that for actually like a good couple months. I was actually trying to get I think you, Kimju, and Whale to
Nope.
play with me, but
I'll never touch a gacha again if it's not Kingdom Hearts related, as long as I live. And I'll
Yeah,
only do
yeah.
Kingdom Hearts begrudgingly because story.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on.
nah. Well, it was fun because right, like you had all these little quests you could do, and all the
yeah,
little
it's so
characters
fun.
were really cute.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just get to a point where
Oh,
like you just
no.
die constantly, and you gotta
go to the
gotta
shop,
buy the
buddy.
potions,
You
or
need
like
to
you're
get
right,
them
and they would
consumables, buddy.
pop up.
Oh, you're having
like, you know,
fun? You put in
here's
the
the weapon
amount of
bundle.
time to feel attached to it? Oh, it
But,
would
like,
be a shame to
the-
drop it now. You put 2 months into it. Oh, there's a
Well,
way
I
to solve
kinda
the
had that
problem, though,
feeling,
buddy.
yeah.
There's
It's like
a way
I
to
haven't put
solve the
any money
problem.
into it, but I put my time into it.
So
But
much
yeah,
time into it. You love this character. You love this world. It's part of your routine now. Boy, oh, I'd be
Yeah.
ashamed to give it up now. Why don't you head to the shop there? One little tap. Then you'd be having fun again, just like we were a couple weeks ago, bud. Remember that? Remember that?
I think that was the other thing was like I didn't think yeah the only thing about the shop in that game was like it was more about there was too much stuff to do as opposed to there being incentives in the shop to buy, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't know. And then the stuff in the shop was like it was like hundreds of dollars. It's like nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's crazy. I can't imagine anybody paying that much for it, but I know people are, and it's like that's so gross. Like why are companies exploiting?
Because they can. Because they're getting away
it's
with
just
it.
because they can.
Because
Yeah,
people are paying for it. It's like,
yeah,
I'm sure there's an exact science of like, okay, how much can we charge you? How much can we make before
yeah.
overwhelming popularity turns against us? And then we go, oh shit, actually we've overstepped here. Let's rein it back in. Like, I mean, there are
I
surely
hate that.
dozens of teams
Yeah,
with infinite spreadsheets going like, okay, exactly
Reviewing
how much
the
money
data.
can we wring out of these people?
yeah.
Is it worth putting in extra effort developing this new system when we're just going to take the game down in 6 months anyway? Like, oh, we need to make this much more money or it dies. Doesn't matter.
Well, I assume-
Launch a new
yeah.
one.
But you put
FF7,
so much money into.
the 7 Battle Royale, that's gone. That's dead. Well, it's about to.
Yeah, I
anyway.
was like, I was having fun at that game.
Yep.
I would hop in every couple weeks and play a
Enough
couple
money.
games. Yeah, I was like, man, that's kind of sad.
yeah, I mean,
I mean, I don't think any game like that could exist on a phone at this point. With current technology, it's just I don't think it's feasible. Like, it's not engaging enough. I feel like. right? Like you could get a better experience playing Fortnite, which is free on a PS4 or PC or
Or
phone.
phone,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and like PUBG
uh,
Mobile exists, and I think in China it still does quite well. Um,
yeah,
and yeah, trying to break into that market is not. And yeah, I mean, with that game in particular, you could argue, okay, well, they didn't expand it onto consoles and whatever, whatever. But I really think it's like an effort versus reward thing. It's like, are people, I'm sure, and again, I'm sure there's scientists working day in and day out instead of solving, problems like
actual
diseases, going,
problems.
okay, how much like, yeah, the mobile market is much more inclined to spend money. It's already tied to the app store. You have to put in this many less passwords and this many more login screens, and you have to pay. If we're on Android, we have to pay a smaller fee versus if we're on Sony store, we got to pay
Yeah,
them this huge fee. Yada yada yada. Like,
I
okay,
was
no, let's
part
just
of a
keep it here.
conversation, like a business conversation that just made me feel so gross. Like, I can't share details about it, obviously, because like
Well, it's
we're
just us talking. What do you mean? You can just whisper it to me.
but just the verbiage that was used and it's constantly about making it quick to the purchase page or
Yep.
quick to get that flash, or like
As least walls as
you don't
possible
want to
between
make
here and money going out of the
yeah.
wallet.
And it was literally like once you've reached that checkout, then it can take a while for that process button to process.
Yeah.
But up until that point, you want constant engagement, constant flow, constant funneling. And it's like, this makes me feel disgusting.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's so, I don't know, man. It's depressing.
Like, I mean, as much as I'm excited for Missing Link, I feel like they've had a few more years to really learn some lessons. And
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm afraid of what the gacha system in that is going to look like, to be perfectly
They
honest
haven't
with you.
announced that it's going to be gotcha.
No, it definitely won't be. Yeah, out of the goodness of the heart, free mobile game for everyone,
I'm still
actually.
coping.
Here's a free mobile game. We're not going to charge it all. It's just going to be, yeah, all the story.
This is fun.
We actually drop it all at once. We're going to put the mobile game out, and then, yeah, never going to touch it again. Everyone's going to have a great time with it. Yeah. No, you're right, dude. You're totally right. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I was really scared for a second.
Okay, well, just, in the alternate universe that we don't live in,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, like those,
Man, those guys have it bad.
yeah, they've got it terribly, but I don't know. Can you imagine? I said it when we talked about Missing Link, but if it is more skill based than Union Cross, where Union Cross, you like you face an enemy, you get your 15 attacks because you die twice, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They get their attacks. You can't do if you don't have the right stuff. You literally can't progress. You just can't. You can't beat the boss.
Mm-hmm.
If Missing Link is more skill based, you can dodge away whatever. You have other methods of getting around. Yeah, okay, maybe you don't beat it in the time limit and you don't get the best rewards or whatever. But at least you can get through theoretically by playing well enough. Then that's less of an issue.
I
I mean,
think it's gonna be more of a flare. I think all attacks are gonna hit. I think it's just gonna be more of like a, hey, I can move my character around. I could be wrong, but
the way I don't know,
know.
the way I look at it, and I get such like twoey vibes from it. I mean, what's the
Yeah,
point
okay.
of moving if you can't dodge? Like you've seen him do a dodge roll in the trailer. I'm pretty sure you've seen attacks. I'm thinking of that moment now where the dark side like slams his hand into the ground and all three
That's
players
what I'm
like
thinking of.
fire up in the air simultaneously. But
I think the guys off screen though, like way in the back, I don't think they
doesn't
get
get hit.
affected. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess it could be.
Because
I guess most
what's the
mobile
point of
games
moving
I
if you
see-
can't dodge any attack? It just feels
Right.
frustrating,
Well,
right?
engagement, making you feel like you're. Yeah. No, I can see that. Yeah. That
Like
makes more
FF7
sense.
Remake, you have like Cloud can't really dodge as well, like but he can block, and you can dodge
Right.
some attacks, but he's more about like
Yeah.
like countering at the right time, and like you can still move around the field, and like yeah, attacks won't necessarily hit you every single time. Whereas like Tifa's more of a dodger and she can get away from it, but yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is like yeah, if they are going to do Missing Link, I hope when they do Missing Link and they're going to put Gacha in it, and again hypothetical universe B. I just hope that it's like some relatively fair system. But again, then it goes into like rankings, and it's like, okay, if you cleared this mission in this amount of speed with this ranking, whatever, you get a better reward, which in turn gets you better rewards later on and better and harder missions, yada 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 yada.
Okay. Get this though, if we're keeping with the concept that Kingdom Hearts developers, they choose a theme, monotony, gameplay focused,
Yo,
or union cross, like it's all about the unions. You gotta be the best in your union. If they're keeping with that, and Ephemer is the leader, it'd be the opposite, right? It would be we're all trying. Why are we fighting each other? Why are we trying to? We should be pooling our resources together. So I
we're
wonder
working
if
for
it's
this
almost gonna
organization,
be.
and you're the top agent of the month. All right, cool. You get the shiny badge this month. There you go. It's now a competition here.
Yeah, yeah, I can see. Yeah, I wonder though if they're more gonna do it. Like, I feel like there's not gonna be a competitiveness to it. Like, I don't think. I think they're gonna go more down the route of Pokemon Go, where it's like you're gonna try to be the best Keylade wielder you can be.
Like no one ever
You're
was.
gonna try to pay homage to Ephemer as your character. Like, you're gonna be the best character you can be. To I don't know, like
Dun,
that kind of
dun,
model.
dun,
I feel
dun.
like fits better with that concept of what Ephemer was trying to get at. Like we should all be doing our best because we should be, not because we're trying to beat out the other team or like slaughter our friends or whatever
So how does Square Enix make their money?
by walking eggs around and
Okay.
hatching them.
So you have things in real life, and you have to pay to win. Like, okay, there's a cool boss fight over there. If you beat it, you'll get cool upgrade materials for your Keyblade, whatever.
Hmm.
But you have to pay to you get a certain amount of like, I mean, to use Pokemon
Travel
Go
tokens.
equivalent raid passes each day or whatever it's
Yeah.
going to be.
No, I think Nemours already confirmed that in an interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that'll definitely be a big thing. Like, I think there'll be locations where you need to go and you can either pay to go there or you can walk there.
Okay.
Is my interpretation. And I think they'll definitely be like, you can spend for 10 trophies or whatever with their currency. Like, that has to be a thing. Unfortunately. But in terms of like, you're going to be fighting other people, in terms of like the story, if Ephemer is the leader, and maybe this will change, maybe this is where, it takes a dark turn. But if Ephemer is the leader and we're being competitive with each other, that just doesn't sound right in my head.
Sort of betrays what he stood
Yeah.
for, right? Yeah.
And I feel like, Kingdom Hearts is very true to their concept, their story.
I
And their
do get
characters.
somewhat, I mean, this is obviously way deep in Missing Link stuff now, but I do get somewhat sinister vibes about the whole structure
Oh,
of this
what's his
mysterious
name?
organization we don't know anything about. But again,
Yeah.
this is very early to be talking about. We're theorizing on Missing Link stuff. But yeah, no, I guess I agree with you. Like, I don't know. There's still like, okay, going back to Pokemon though, like it's not, you aren't directly competing with each other unless you play PvP. Oftentimes you're actually working together with each other, but you still have the opportunity to like flex by, you've got these gyms everywhere and you can post your cool shinies there and show them
Yeah.
off. If you, even in this cooperative raid that you do together, if you throw out the shiny version of the Mewtwo instead of the lame
Yeah.
non-shiny version, I mean, obviously you're just all there to deal damage to this boss, but you do get to flex a little bit with, oh look how cool my shiny is as you're throwing it out.
Mhm.
Like, there are still ways for the player that's either gotten lucky or forced the luck by just spending enough time and resources on it to
Mhm.
eventually strike lucky to show off. I mean, that's these
Yeah.
live services in a nutshell, right? It's like, okay, you do want to have a level of cosmetics, even if they don't affect gameplay at all, a level of cosmetics to show off, to show, okay, well, I've spent something here that gets me, above what a non-spending player gets, something that they don't have, some level of exclusivity that is justifying my purchase and my spending money on this thing. I get to feel like it's worth it because I have some level of superiority to the player that isn't spending anything. I mean, that
Yeah,
to me
yeah,
feels like
no,
what it boils
that
down
for
to at the
sure.
end of the day, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It
I
has to
spent
be
money.
like,
I should have a premium experience. I should have a better experience
which
than the
I
people that did
I
it.
think is, I kind of agree with that. Like,
Yeah,
if
I don't disagree.
if you want to elevate your enjoyment of the game and you want to buy cosmetics, then yeah, I think that's fair. Like, you can't like, as much as I would want a free game to be free and to be passion driven, I do know like you have to make money somehow.
Of course,
Like,
yeah.
that's just
I'm not. I mean, in an ideal situation, it's like, okay, you launch a project you have a reasonable expectations of how much it makes, and you meet these expectations. Great. You want forcing players through the fear of missing out and through manipulative tactics to make your money. You get paid because you genuinely, your players recognize how good of a service this is, how good of a game this is, and they want to reward you financially for that great experience.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we make a mobile game that is driven by passion?
And then realize,
just have like a donation system.
What if we have like a weekly VR pre?
No, but we make it a law.
And then like 6 months in, we flip the switch and we turn evil and we go, they're all in now. Let's like introduce a really difficult boss with pretty, average rewards behind it. But they'll feel cool if they beat it first. But the only way to beat it is by buying the super mega. Yeah, this is what you meant, right?
I want to retract my...
I mean, I'm sure, isn't that how it starts, right? Like Angry Birds a million years ago starts with you pay $3 and you get this cool bird game on your phone.
The kid that made it, though, he was bought out.
And it gets awesome stuff. And now, where are we now? We're at like, spend $100 to get a million more silly, flashy gems to maybe get a PNG, if you're lucky.
Wait, is Angry Birds still a thing?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, my memory of mobile gaming once upon a time was this relatively wholesome thing where you spent a couple bucks and you got an experience. It was a transaction. It was a one-time thing. And like everything, I mean, it's not just like it's, there's
it's even
subscription
on
services
games
in everything now ever. So I'm not saying it's limited to
everything.
mobile gaming, but I feel like that's where the plague started. It started in mobile gaming with this like, it
started with, you got to pay rent. You got to pay your water
the
bill.
original mobile gaming, yeah. Ooh, the original subscription service. Ooh, yes.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting how quickly companies latch on to the, you don't, and even companies I've worked at, it's, you want to get that hook in. You need the hook, you need the draw, and then you can just, even if it's like $5 a month, at least you have that constant stream of income. It's, I mean, it's great business plans. It's just I hate it. I hate. It works. I don't think anybody refutes that. It's just
it does for some, but there's only so much. Like if your commodity with people is time, if that's what you're either expecting time or money out of them, eventually, you can't keep squeezing. There's only so much blood in that stone, right? Like if they wanted to, especially with Missing Link, right? If they wanted to be another Pokemon Go simulator, I already played Pokemon Go. I don't particularly want to have a second one. I like what I do with that one currently. What am I going to do? Like, today's a Pokemon Go day, so I get to go for my walk, and now it's like, oh shit, I got to do Missing Link now. Got to go for another walk and get Missing Link out. Like, I don't really want to do both. I've already occupied in that space. I have a walking simulator game. Well, that's not walking simulator, but I don't know.
It kind of is.
But it's not the traditional meaning of like one of those like.
Wait, do you have one of those? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you never heard of Gone Home. It's a walking simulator is like the term for a game where it's like, you're in a spooky house and you're in first person mode, and maybe there'll be like a bump and you go, you'll turn around and there's nothing there. But you walk through the house and you interact with basic objects, and then that's the game. And you might hear some whatever. But you know what I mean? Like there is a real life ARG game, whatever you want to call it. I already have one of those. I'm not desperate crying out for a new one. So if they're trying to barge into the space and be like, the Kingdom Hearts version of it now, I'm not desperate for that experience.
Pretty sure it's going to be more of an ARG.
Right. But I guess that's what I'm getting at is like, there's only so much space for this to go around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine. I guess most Pokemon fans are, maybe not most, but I know there is a lot of people that like Pokemon that also like Kingdom Hearts. So I mean, if you have, you can't really split the base there, right? And I think Pokemon's pretty much in a pretty good spot. Like I've gotten back into it, and I enjoy
the franchise in the world. Yeah, I think it's doing okay.
Yeah, well, and it's like they already have the core mechanics in place, and like minimal updates, and it's constant flow of content. Like if Square is going to try to compete with that, I don't know if they're going to be very successful.
I mean, like Pokemon is lightning in a bottle. It's already an established, long-running, hugely popular series about collecting different types of monsters. And guess what? Lucky you, it already has its own system built in since the second generation of games, where there's a 1 in, I think it's 8,192 chance that one of those monsters is a different color than it should be. And it sparkles
Yeah.
and it goes, ooh, and it's very rare. Hey, lucky you, you have a game that's all about going around and collecting monsters in the real world because you have this technology that you build it upon. And you can drip feed these shinies out as well. And it is literally the perfect marriage of these two systems.
Yeah.
They've tried it with Pikmin and Harry Potter and all this other shit since, and it doesn't have. I mean, I'm sure it's popular to the people that
Did
like
both
them.
of those games come out? I didn't realize.
Well, there you go. There's a great example. Harry Potter's been out for forever. Pikmin's been out for forever. Like, I think, was it Miyamoto
Damn.
talked about Pikmin? I don't know what it's
Yeah.
called. Pikmin Go
He
recently.
just came out and talked about it, didn't
He's
he?
like, yeah, it's out still. No one's playing it, but it exists.
I didn't realize. I thought that was like
Nope.
still they were
It's been out for ages.
launching it.
It's been out for ages.
That's
Pikmin 4's the one on the
interesting.
horizon. But he stopped to talk about Pikmin Go first. He's like, oh, yeah, I get to walk around with my Pikmin. No,
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's great, but like, it's never going to be the lightning in a bottle that's like bloody Pokemon Go was. Like, it's just such a perfect marriage.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know how Kingdom Hearts is going to try and, again, like, unless it's
Well,
through
the way
FOMO,
they're talking
unless
about
it's
traveling,
literally-
it's like you have to go to certain places. It sounds like.
yeah,
So, I guess it could be, majority of it is spent, around your hub. So you can move around your area, and then once every week or once a couple times a week, you'll go to specific areas around your hub. I don't know.
yeah. I guess we're in what, early November now is the time of recording this, 2022. So
Oh, yeah, beta's supposed to be out soon, right?
2022 close beta 2022. Oh, did you not get the invite? Oh, don't you know?
Wait, did
already?
you get an invite?
Fuck no, I would no. As if I could keep
Oh.
that a secret. I can't swear. I can't keep it a secret. I'm kidding. Please get me in. Please invite me in. I can't keep such a secret. He'll never know. No, I mean, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know why people always expect like, oh yeah, it'll be out in November. Then they said 2022. Expect December. Why would they be like?
Yeah.
Why would it ever be early? Like, give themselves a window. It's going to be at the end of the window. It's like everyone asking, I guess Dark Road was cancelled then. It's not out already. No, we haven't reached the end of the time limit yet. It's probably still coming. Don't worry.
I guess with this though, like if you're doing it 2022, you don't want to be releasing it around Christmas because then you're not going to have any support.
Oh, like
But-
technical support, you mean?
Yeah.
Do you think Japan rigorously observes Christmas?
Oh, I guess that is kind of a North American holiday
Well, I'd say much more of a Western holiday than a...
or Western.
Like I know
Huh.
in Australia, for example, and I guess New Zealand as well, we have like primary school holidays is basically December to like late January, early February, revolving around Christmas because that's when our summer is. But
Yeah.
like it's I consider it quite a big deal for a Western country. But again, maybe I'm ignorant. I don't, and I'm sure it's observed there. I'm sure maybe you'll see Christmas stuff if you walk around like shopping centers or whatever. But I can't imagine it's like to the great detriment of business. Like, oh, we got to take a bunch of time off for Christmas
Right.
in Japan. And again, maybe I'm horrendously ignorant there, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone maybe in the comments can correct me.
No, I think you're right. I don't
Again,
think many companies would.
I might have taken one hell of a detour here when I started talking about Union Cross and its gameplay, but I was getting at the idea that like, okay, Union Cross comes out on this mobile system, and it's only really relatively recently come out, and I think it fits quite well with the platform. For all its faults, it is a game that really does belong on that platform.
Yeah.
For anyone, and I've heard it a lot. I mean, God, I've got my cutscene compilation. Every second comment is this really should have been on consoles. It should get remade for consoles. Why don't we get blah 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 full console experience? And it's
I'm
really,
on board with that actually.
You want it. You want it on consoles.
Okay, but here's my take on it. Right?
Here we go. Okay, yeah. Now we're gonna fight. Awesome.
With the Final Fantasy VII, right?
Uh-huh.
You had this, at the time, next gen, turn-based game RPG, right? And then you bring it to today's time, and it's radically different. Well, okay, maybe not radically different, but it's real time, 3D graphics, fully rendered cutscenes, voice acted, all that jazz. With Union Cross, and I think I floated this idea by you, or whale a couple times. It has all the elements of being a really great Final Fantasy 14 clone. You have all the elements of, you have your clans or your unions, you have this currency or whatever, you have this objective that you're trying to meet, you have the story that's really great, being drip fed through DLC packs and stuff, and then you have all your different medals that you can, change so that it's more of a, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, I think it would serve really well as an MMORPG. Like, I feel like you could change it enough, but keep to the structure of it a bit, mission based or whatever. Or maybe not mission based, but I feel like that game could be transitioned kind of like Final Fantasy VII Remake was, into like this kind of still clinging to, not clinging, but like paying homage to like the original, but like radically changing it. That's my take.
So I don't know. I feel like I agree with like half of what you said in terms of like, okay, yeah, the mechanics are all there, the skeletons are there, and I'll expand on this later because I think maybe they could do a sequel involving these story elements. But I think the story's kind of already told, right? Like there is an end point for our playable character. They kick the bucket, right? They're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna remake it without altering the story, how do you avoid that end point?
Exactly. So you
unless you just stall forever and you never
Cross.
give people the ending they want, which is the whole reason they want it in the first place, because they want to see those emotional moments in the climax where it's like Ven screaming and Lorium screaming and everyone's having oh shit, it's going down. You'd basically never ever get that because you can't. How do you have an evolving story in an MMO like that? Well, you've got to keep making stuff for them to do, right? And if people bitched about Agrabah being too long in a mobile game, can you imagine if they invested all that time and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to shut it down after a couple of years, once we've told the story fully, then we'll pull the plug. No.
Well, at that point, I don't think you'd pull the plug. Like, maybe not pull. Right, you're going to pull the plug someday, but I feel like it would fit really well into like a, Final Fantasy 14 where it's like, ongoing. You have people who are still doing raids and like trying to max out their stuff. Yeah, there's still DLC coming out for it, but I don't know. There's still a lot of newcomers still going through the old patches.
Sure, but the day one players and the ones that have caught up on the content, they always are looking forward to the next thing, right? Their player character has had that story. They've gone through so much stuff at this point. They've gone through 1,000 DLC packs. They're the warrior of light, they're the warrior of darkness, the warrior of, every single thing in between. And they didn't they didn't die. They get to do, their story can continue until the day where they're like, okay, we are shutting down 14. Whether that means they get to go right off in the sunset with their friends they've made along the way of the last decade, or we're giving them a conclusive ending. This is the final cutscene. This is final story content right here. Yeah, you're dead. And we're shutting the game down next month. Like how do you... There's incentive to keep playing the game, right? There's not like... And maybe I'm like woefully ignorant here, but surely you give a shit about your character. That's what you're investing in, right?
Right.
Even if you just said they died, oh, well, no, you can play the old missions again forever if you want to. But we can't make any more story content because, well, their ghosts can come back, I guess, so we can revive them, whatever. Like, but the point is, like, there's an end to their story. Union Crisis had an end to its story. I don't know how you MMO that without, again, stalling the ending for forever and giving them just infinite shit to do in Disney Worlds until...
Well, I mean, every story has an end, though, right? Like,
right.
Do you have to tell the end? Can't you just tell up until you want to stop telling it?
So everyone clamoring for the Union Cross remake, are they going to be happy when they don't get to see...
Are they going to be happy regardless? No, they're not going to be happy. So.
Yeah, but what are you doing it for? Why would you make the... Why would you want to tell the story? Do you just want an excuse to make an MMO and hopefully suck players in that way and then just never give them an ending?
Well,
or never...
Don't make this about money again.
But I mean, it sort of has to be, right? What's the point of an MMO?
It's true, though. Like, no, I get it.
To make regular subscription fees and charge for expansions, right? Plus cosmetics through the roof, like, and everything else you can charge for in a live service.
You could make everything fully 3D, and you could have cutscenes, and you could have cool little. You could have a little Chirithy mobile and ride around with Chirithy, and
Okay.
it
So I
could be
guess
fun while it lasted.
okay. So where I'm getting at with that is that they set the plot point very, very clearly and said, "Oh, by the way, Day to Daybreak Town got backed up. Every single person here got backed up.
Yeah, so
If you want
MMORPG
to,
Part 2.
then you have a sequel where you say, "Oh yeah, no, we fixed it. Everything's fine. We fit like Kingdom Hearts 4 comes along. Oh, we were researching these data worlds. We found this. Oh, what's that, Mickey? When you're in Scarlet Red Column, you found the Day to Daybreak Town backup. Well, why didn't you say so? Let's get that booted back up. Oh, look at that. In their own contained little worlds, they have shitloads of Keyblade wielders, and you can be one of
How
them.
do you? Yeah.
And this
How do you
is the MMO.
reckon? This is probably a topic for a different episode. And I feel like I've thought about it, about how Mickey and Donald and Goofy are there.
In Union
But I
Cross.
haven't. Yeah, I can't remember what conclusion I came to.
I think we talked about it in our pre-podcast days, but like, yeah, if they want to canonize that, because again, it was only ever like a
It was
Kingdom
like
Hearts
a little
key
event,
second
right?
or first anniversary event that then for whatever reason they included as part of the main campaign of Union Cross. And if they do want to canonize it, I feel like the only way of doing it is by making it, because like Mickey does seem to be the real Mickey there. He doesn't seem to be a data copy of him. I mean, I guess if it's non-canon,
We wouldn't know, right? And that's why Recoded is so great.
Wow. It's the best, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. If you wanted to make an MMO out of it and you wanted to test those waters, then yeah, I feel like you don't remake Union Cross, you make a sequel to it. It's like, yeah, we just have here's Day to Daybreak Town, and here's all our key kids living out this little simulation, whatever. Oh, we can't figure out how to fully restore them to life yet, but at least we can try. If enough Keyblade wielders develop their own hearts in the data version, then they can come back to life. Whatever excuse you need. Oh, they need to play the game, and then that's how they get revived. Yada, 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 yada.
Right.
I mean, I feel like you don't set up the idea that there is a data backup and every single person here is backed up if you don't intend to revive that one day.
Definitely.
Whether it's like Kingdom Hearts 55 and the ending is, okay, we fixed it, the Realm of Light is coming back into one piece again.
55, oh my god.
And all these Keyblade wielders are going to go out and protect the world, yada yada. And it's you're one of them. You get to live on in the Kingdom Hearts series forever. You did it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a remake of these games is not likely. It's like, does Square want to compete with themselves in the MMO space? Do they really want to do that?
I guess not. Yeah, they're the same company. They probably wouldn't. If anything, they'd actually probably do
some sort of crossover.
What is it?
Potentially
crossover event. Wait, weren't they talking about that?
I
or someone made a mention of it or something?
Maybe, but I don't actually know. But yeah, I don't see themselves rushing out to be like, oh, let's put a competing MMO. Already such a crowded space. Let's make another one. And make it Kingdom Hearts skin this time. Like, I'm sure there are, I'm not a Final Fantasy 14 player, despite, several attempts to get me in. Which I know I'd enjoy it. Like, I've said it a million times. I know I'd love it, but I am very resistant to being pulled into a game where I feel like it'd be my job to log into FF14 every so often and do my I'd love it. I would love it. It'd be the end of me because I love it so much.
Right.
And yeah, I would be forced to play a Kingdom Hearts version of it. I wouldn't have a choice. I would just be like, yeah, shit, all right, you got me. God damn it, you got me. But they must internally recognize that there's a lot of crossover between 14 players and a potential Kingdom Hearts MMO players that only have so many hours in the day and probably can't, I don't know.
There's not enough time until we make the technology where time is irrelevant.
I guess my other thing as well is like, would you not feel insulted if you're one of these two animators who spent the entire year working on Dark Road and now everyone's like, oh, cool, awesome story. God, it sucked though. This art style was the worst. Wish they'd told it better. Like, wish it was told in 3D assets.
Yeah, that would be pretty
like
awful.
You're just saying that, oh, it's a shitty...
No, I loved the art style. Yeah,
I thought it fit. And yeah, I guess in a perfect world with infinite budget and time and everything else, yeah, it's a console experience and never a mobile experience. Great. Okay.
Well, I think they like doing the different art styles. Like, I think that's just that team, whoever's, Nomura, the game developers, the artists, like they love doing different styles. Like even the music, like it's so creative. Like they're not like tied down. I feel like they can make this little storybook game or make this uh you know pixel art game. Like I don't know. I think they enjoy doing things that are not just 3D assets. And I mean, obviously, the next couple games are gonna be that, and maybe the next all of them are gonna be like that. But
I mean, I don't
I don't
know.
know.
If it's me and I'm designing, you want to make a live service game because that's where the industry is headed. That's where the money can be made. But, you don't want it to just be a complete cash grab. You want to at least have some sort of semblance of a story behind it, or you want to do right
Mhm.
by your fans. Again, like we were saying before, you sit down at the drawing board and you say, okay, well, what's it about? We want to have players competing for this something. We don't know what it's called yet, but we're going to have them competing for something. Okay, what if it's light? The keyboard wielders, they're fighting for light. Okay, so now it's light. Why would they be fighting over for light? Oh, because there's these teams that are fighting over it. Okay, well, there's 5 teams that are fighting over light. And why are they fighting over it? Oh, because there's this guy, and he's in control of him, and he's actually setting him up the entire time. And he's got this book that can tell the future. Oh, okay. So well, let's use that. It's a storybook aesthetic, and it's gonna start with this pop up, and our character's gonna look like they're from a fairy tale, from this literally a fairy tale book. We're
Yeah.
gonna, and then I don't know. I feel like they at least did their due diligence, and like internally, it does seem to follow. It doesn't just feel like a thoughtless cash grab, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Like
Yeah.
the art style, I like it. I think it's very cute. I think it's very well done. And like some scenes are like, I mean, again, I watched Sleeping Beauty for the first time, and I'm like, holy shit, that is exactly 1-to-1 how that looked in
Yeah.
Sleeping Beauty. Like that hill with all these trees in the background, like that is identical to how it looked in that movie. They
Mhm.
nailed it. And I think for it's a fairy tale, like that story they're trying to tell, it's extremely appropriate. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's invalid as an art form. Again, here's me, the hypocrite, trying to quote unquote improve it by adding voice acting to it. But I think that's the emotions still come through just fine, like through the visual
Yeah.
medium that it is.
Well, I think in audio, the music played a
Yeah,
big
sure.
part.
No, I fully agree. Yes.
But yeah, the animations were and they did a really good job, for sure.
Yeah, so imagine them being like, oh no, just the fact that it is a mobile game and it's told in 2D assets, it's therefore completely invalid. Like, nope, Dark Road fails as a story because we didn't see 3D camera, like 3D assets telling the
Right.
story instead of, I don't know, like, again, in an ideal world, sure, go ahead and remake it, but I don't necessarily know that I want time spent doing that could be spent pushing the series forward, especially so soon after Dark Road. Like, there's zero chance they remake Dark Road after literally just finishing it, after spending all this time on it, finally getting it out. It's like,
Are people
oh, by
asking
the
for a
way,
remake of it?
people are like already like, again, go to my comment section and listen to how many people are telling you that this is great. If only it was in 3D. If only it was told
Yeah.
better. Blah 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 blah. Like, as if the
Interesting.
medium itself is incapable of telling said story.
I wonder what that is. I wonder why.
I don't know if it's like popular opinions just being parroted. Like I've seen,
Yeah.
there's some, there are some opinionated streamers that I'm not going to name any names, but I saw someone watching my video and they were getting into it, and then realized that they had to be like, oh wait, shit, I hate mobile games. This sucks actually and bad, and oh, it should have been in 3D and we deserve this and it deserves this, and it's like,
Gamers don't
listen here,
deserve
you son of
anything.
a, come on, like give me a
Sorry.
break. Give me a break. Come on, buddy. I don't know. It's just very funny. Like I think if you like commit yourself to a cause, you have to then, oh shit, I can't deviate from my opinion. I better double down on it.
Yeah, well, I think I feel like that's pretty common. Like you don't change when you hit a certain age. I think at like 26 or 25 you stop, your brain stops developing. And so, but I think in internet culture it's like, you you have to be the same person. Like you can't change. Like, you
Mm.
got to stick to your guns about every opinion you ever made, and you can't change that opinion. It's very odd. It's a very odd culture.
I mean, I guess that's the, I don't want to call it echo chamber, but like in a world where you can look on the internet and find exactly your opinion being reinforced, if you found someone that perfectly
Oh yeah.
parrots yourself, you don't have to feel challenged. You don't have to feel like your beliefs are being confronted. You can
Mm-hmm.
just say, "Yep, this." And as soon as they start changing their tone, it's like, "Whoa, does that mean I have to change my tone and my opinions as well?" No, I'm just going to find. Don't worry, YouTube's already recommended me 3 guys that sound exactly like the one I'm already watching. I'm just going to go listen to them instead. Like I feel like you just have to continually double down, and that's
Yeah, I
this is
guess
a Kingdom
I'm
Hearts
happy I
podcast, and
didn't.
I'm like, that's
Yeah,
how extremism
kind of
forms, right?
listen.
You have to keep going further and further down that.
Yeah,
Oh
it
boy,
must. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad I don't fall into that category because I feel very comfortable changing my opinions. Like,
sure.
or I guess I feel very comfortable not having very strong opinions. That's
That means
fairly
you're weak and
uncommon on the internet.
spineless, and that means
Yeah,
you have to stick to an opinion
yeah,
forever and reject all new information forever. Not allowed to change. Right?
man. Couldn't have said it better myself. But
Kingdom Hearts, huh?
Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, this is a Kingdom Hearts podcast.
Who? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we've talked about it to death, but again, I do feel slightly
Yeah.
hypocritical of being in a position now where remakes already exist, and I'm happy for their existence. In hindsight, no, in hindsight, I think that still happened because even though that was an agonizing wait for Kingdom Hearts 3, it was an agonizing wait for, so many of the titles in this series. I've been around for a little while now in this thing. I mean, I remember waiting, not being able to sleep the night before, in the week before Birth by Sleep came out. But
I
yeah,
remember being upset that I couldn't play Birth by Sleep because I didn't have a PSP. That's when I stopped playing Kingdom Hearts.
I was able to borrow my friends who had hacked his PSP,
Yeah.
and I downloaded the Japanese ISO, I think. I was
Oh,
able to play
damn.
it.
Okay.
Oh no, that was fine. I'm like, sorry, no, I played the Japanese version of Days because I had one of those little flash carts, and there was just a ROM site easily available, and it's like, here you go,
Man.
Japanese version of
Damo
Days, here it is.
Damo the hacker back in
Damo the hacker.
whenever those games released.
Yeah, I had a DS, I didn't have a PSP. But yeah, point is like, I mean, remasters is a different thing entirely. I feel like remasters is like so much less effort, and I'm sure it halts the development of the next Kingdom Hearts title a little bit, but I don't know that it drastically the way that a remake would. I feel like a remake would really slow things down and introduce
I
the
think it
potential
really depends.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. But I know, I think I agree with you on most of that. Like remasters, I feel like, if they're done right, they're not just a soulless cash grab. Like, Last of Us and Horizon Zero Dawn don't, to me, seem like they need a remaster / remake, whatever you want to classify it as. And whereas, like Recoded, since I played that game first, I really enjoyed it, even though it was a remake. Like, yeah, how you're saying it feels hypocritical, but like, I don't know. Some things like Final Fantasy VII Remake, like, maybe it's for the new people. Maybe that's what I'm missing. All right, like maybe people that will play KH1 Remake will be like, the 12-year-old that I was when I first played Kingdom Hearts. And they're experiencing this game for the first time. They're like, damn, this is so cool. But, if they played the original KH1 game, it'd be clunky and weird. And like, it wouldn't suit, today's technologies. So at the end of this podcast, maybe I'm switching my stance. But I don't think, personally speaking, right? I don't, remakes aren't for me. If they want to make remakes for other people, that's fine. But I'd rather it go towards something new that everybody can experience. Especially since they've made all the games packaged into one, ready for newcomers. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is sort of what when I envision this discussion, that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, I don't think it's for me, but I'm sure there is an audience who, yeah, like just like you said. I mean, I guess from personal experience, like FF7 I always thought of it as like this classic, but it's like, oh yeah, I'll get around to it eventually. And it honestly has sat in my backlog for a million years, and I've never got around to playing it. But like with the remake coming out, it really has invigorated my desire to play it, the original one, especially before part two of the remake comes out.
Right.
Whereas I guess before it, okay, so that's my main difference that I always wanted to bring up is like I feel like FF7 was a relatively like stagnant franchise at that point. Obviously, FF the greater Final Fantasy is not, but the FF7 particular branch felt like okay, we're kind of done here. There's obviously the story continued beyond 7 with Advent Children and then
Yeah.
Crisis Core and then Dirge of Cerberus. Not Crisis Core was a prequel, but you know what I mean. But it wasn't really going any further than that. So, okay, you have a remake which kind of functions as a sequel and a remake at the same time. It's interesting and it's cool and it's new. Whereas the difference, again, in Kingdom Hearts, it's still going. Kingdom Hearts is still going. It's still pushing forward. There's no going back to the original well and remaking Kingdom Hearts 1 feels like insanity to me, only because
Yeah, I can see that.
there would
I
be
like
that
that.
temptation to change things. And if the series is still pushing forward, okay, well now we sort of have like two contradictory origin canon points. And for such a story-based
Right.
series, I feel like that's a problem. For me
I mean, you can
personally,
make the
at least.
argument that now that the Ansem Secret or the Secret of Darkness saga's over, they could be wanting to remake that.
The
But
entire
now, like
saga.
I think you said, yeah, all of it, even KH3, remake it
Just
right now.
Remake it right now.
But nah, I think with with how Kingdom Hearts is, it's like it's bundled already. The Secret of Darkness is bundled already inside of the Lost Master saga, or like you got the Union Cross key, Unchained key. You have all that story before even the Secret of Darkness saga starts. So it's like, I retract my argument. It doesn't really make sense. It's still like an ongoing story. It's pretty linear, and changing, adding anything or remaking anything at this point would throw another world line in there we don't need to worry about.
And that's, I guess, kind of where I'm getting at. Like, it is already an established piece of lore in the game that, you can have these contradictory timelines. And it's like,
Like Sword and Smash.
yeah, canon, definitely canon. Because the interview said so. Remember, the interview explicitly said, "Hi, I'm Tetsuya Nomura, and this is canon now." Interview over. But yeah, I guess when you said it at the end there, maybe there are people that feel not intimidated by Kingdom Hearts, but kind of like, yeah, it's a 20-year-old game at this point. I'll get around to it eventually. I'll get around to it, and then a remake would be the impetus to be like, okay, screw it. I'm going to play this Kingdom Hearts 1 remake, and that's going to be my entry point to the series, and then I'm going to go back and play all the old ones.
Yeah, like I think coming at it from that perspective, it's like I would be excited for people to be able to experience it.
I almost don't know though, like it's such.
I feel like the old games still hold up. I guess it would be my only thing. It's like, right, I wouldn't go play Final Fantasy VII on a whim, right? I would want to play it because I played Final Fantasy VII Remake, but that's just because of me. Like, right, I'm sure there are some people that would love to experience that kind of gameplay again, but it's like, for me, it's a bit out of my. Well, I'm not really a gamer anymore, so so like I don't think I would enjoy going back to that kind of old style of gameplay, like not real time. Whereas Kingdom Hearts, I feel like KH1 still holds up. Like it's it might be a bit clunky, but I feel like it's still it's playable, as is KH2. I mean, everybody loves KH2, and then KH3 it just came out. I feel like it's the most smooth and best combat. Well, I would say, I wouldn't say that because you'll get people in comments saying that's false, but
I'll do it
in
for
terms
you
of
right
like
now.
flow.
Coach did better. Coach did.
Thank you.
But for real, Coach did better. No. Fucking with you.
But for real,
I like them both.
recoded.
Like them both. Honestly, for real, I recoded is amazing. It feels great. The command board is beautiful. Yeah, I'd say yeah, one age is probably the worst in terms of like all the quote unquote main Kingdom Hearts experiences.
Hmm.
Um, but only a little bit of clunkiness, and really like for how old that game is, it holds up
Honestly,
astoundingly
yeah.
well. It's really incredible how well that game holds up, and it just has so much charm to it. Like I, I'm sure they could, but I don't really trust that you could ever capture that feeling again in a modern engine with like more modern Unreal graphics. Like I mean, maybe I'm really naive saying that, but there's something about that art
No,
style.
yeah.
The every part of it, like the voice acting is just so charming. Like the music kicks in just beautifully. Like everything about it is just. I
I
mean,
think it's
right now I'm
because,
picturing the
yeah.
ending, and I'm just like, it's just perfect. It
Yeah,
still
the
holds up
ending,
so
yeah.
well, and I
And I think it's
don't
just
know
because,
you could get.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go.
No, no, I keep trying to cut you off. I don't know why. But yeah, I think it's just, it comes from passion. Like, you could really tell that all the people that worked on that game really enjoyed it. I mean, maybe they didn't. Maybe I'm like, talking for them, but like, I feel like the game designers, like Nomura, the storytellers, like everybody got to be creative. The music, just yeah, just amazing. Like they were the given a path to make whatever they wanted, and I feel like that was the end result of that journey. Even
Mm,
then, like even now, like as I mentioned through all our entire discussions, is like all the games have like this concept and they stick to it. Like they have this idea that they want to do. They have the creative freedom to explore different avenues, explore different hardware, different software, different ways of like it's not like a rehash of the same mechanics like Pokemon or COD. It's like, they get to do a card game or like a function based game or, a command, which they did stick with the command list a lot, but or whatever you call it. But I don't know. It's very clear to me that Kingdom Hearts is like their little Square Enix's little like pocket of chaos almost. Like, they can do whatever they want with it, and it's their little experimental nook that they can have fun with. And
mm,
I feel like that really shows. Like I feel like a lot of like all the games that come out of that just, they have that charm. They have that fun sense of game to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I agree. Yeah, like, but I don't know. After this HD 1.5 remasters, it's like if you wanted to give it like one more coat of paint and just fix up all the scenes that didn't get fixed in that first pass, because there are still a few like fish face moments. Um, but I don't know what else you could possibly do to improve
Yeah.
without like remaking it entirely. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
like
And
Kingdom Hearts One,
yeah.
it's clunky, but again, it's almost that meta thing of like then you get into Kingdom Hearts 2 and then 3, and Sora's movement is just leaps and bounds. He's just so much more fluid than he
Mm-hmm.
used to be. And you could read that as like, oh yeah, well he's more accomplished as a Keyblade wielder now. He's more accomplished as a fighter. Like he's growing up. He's this incredible heroic figure now, and yeah, it feels better. Like I don't know, like playing Kingdom Hearts 1 with Kingdom Hearts three's mechanics. I feel like it'd just be wrong. Like Sora
Yeah.
magnetically pulling himself towards Heartless, and like so many of the Heartless are also designed around Sora's moveset,
Honestly,
right? Like you
yeah.
have these guys with these big front-facing shields a lot of the time, whether it's the large bodies or the fat bandits or the
Mm-hmm.
defenders, because Sora's movement is clunky. Like it is kind of a pain in the ass to get around behind him. Like it's not as
Yeah.
simple as it is in future games where it's like, okay, I'm gonna either go on a quick run or I'm gonna do this awesome jump, and I can just do
Yeah.
these
No,
like
that's right.
huge wide open area attacks that are just gonna do massive damage to the entire field all at once. Like, I mean, yeah, you have some of those, um, but I don't know.
No,
Just
I 100% agree.
all I don't know. I just don't feel like. But again, if you want that, and I've been trying to mention this for ages. I keep forgetting. Um, like someone is gonna do that for you. Like John Marshall, was it Redraw Studios? I got his Twitter open. I had it open before, and I just didn't bring it up. But there are people doing this for you. Like if you want to experience Kingdom Hearts, like looks like 1 and 2 in Unreal Engine, like keep an eye on guys like this that are really, really, really
Yeah.
talented, know their way around the engine, and it's obviously not going to be the full studio release that a remake would be, but I think it's going to scratch your itch. Like if this is what you're looking for, this is a tremendous, tremendous effort by a talented, passionate group of people here. And I think that this absolutely should exist. Like, people putting, passion into it. That
Yeah, no, for sure.
doesn't detract away from the creators of the actual series that can then push the series forward and don't have to keep retreading old ground. Like, great.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to move on to make a Days remake, remake next, avoid Square, avoid Square's banhammer, sure, but please, more power to you. Go for it. Absolutely go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've said it a million times, but yeah. I'm like, again, hypocritical if I don't want any more remakes, but I think the series is in a great place right now. Every single game is available on a modern day console. You can go to YouTube for the 2 mobile games. It's not asking you to buy another console to play them. You just have to go to you have a mobile phone, either get them for free on your mobile phone, or go to YouTube and watch them that way if you don't want to like actually download and play the game. Again, like, I feel like my version of Union Cross is probably better than the in-app version because the cutscenes are in, for my personal preference, a better order. But whatever, obviously I'm clearly biased there.
And you got that
It's
fully voiced one coming out soon.
fully voiced one coming soon, baby. From Square's point of view, they have a way where you can play every single game in the series right now in an acceptable form. You don't have to track down an ancient ass console like with Days and Recoded and with Birth by Sleep. Or with moving Chain of Memories. Like, I think that's what I always used to think. Is like, from Square's point of view, you can easily catch up on all the content that you more or less need to know if you want to get the full experience out of the latest game. If you want to play Kingdom Hearts 3 and you haven't played any of the preceding games, even Recoded, you are missing out a little bit, right? You're not getting the full story. So from their point of view, I don't see them ever doing a remake, because from their point of view, okay, you have access to it. You can do whatever you want. You can go ahead, play every single game on your PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, or PC, and get them for free on mobile. Everyone's got a phone, and if you've got YouTube, you can experience these stories. I just can't see them making remakes for them.
Yeah.
Unless they like wrap up the series and want to reboot it from scratch, and I just don't see it.
Yeah, man.
But again, passionate fans are going to step up and scratch that itch, which I think is a perfect happy medium, and then Square gets to keep pushing forward to the rest of the series. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's important to note. Yeah, people are going to do it, and that frees up the Square Enix to explore the new stuff that they want to create, which I think is like you said, a good happy medium.
Oh boy. Well, that quick summary is my thoughts on it. That it took 2.5 hours to get there. Well, 2.25 hours to get to that point, to arrive at that summary.
And some philosophy and other discussions.
Yeah, that was awesome. Well, if you've watched / listened to it this far, thank you very much. We do appreciate you guys enjoying this little series that we're doing. Same again. If you would like to maybe leave topics for us to explore in future episodes, we're always interested. Like I said, we've got our little board that we do draw from, but we do like to hear what you would like us to talk about. And I think Water and I are just both very appreciative. And anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. Well, I think we've just both been busy. We wanted to do this a bit more regularly, but work and life get in the way. But we appreciate everybody that's been leaving comments and views and enjoying what we've already put out. And it's really, I don't know, it's cool to think that people are excited to hear us just ramble about random stuff. So thank you.
We did get a comment last time that was sort of talking about hopefully summarizing or condensing these conversations, but I think that's sort of the point. Like, we do both make scripted content when we're free, and this is sort of the discussions that lead to that content. Like, we used to talk to each other all the time, especially if we had an idea we wanted to bounce around with each other, and that stuff then leads into the scripted stuff, which is like far more condensed. But this is just I don't really know how to condense it. I mean, apart from that summary I did right at the end there, like that's my that's my thoughts.
Just clip that part and make it a short. Yeah.
Like, all right, do you want to listen to the whole 2 hour thing, or I skip to like this part in the podcast? That's basically what the conclusion is we sort of reached. But
Yeah, I wish we could somehow do it, but honestly, yeah, we just the amount of projects that we're both doing, and we have work in real life too. So like, I feel like this is a good little interlude, like a way we can explore ideas and concepts. Even though we don't have the time to sit down and make scripted videos all the time. So
Yeah, especially
hopefully we get back into it. But yeah, as for right now, this is a good way for me to also just kind of, I don't know, enjoy talking about Kingdom Hearts again, and also get out some content for people to hopefully enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. I'm in the same boat. Like right now, all my focus is going on creating that fan dub, and as much as I'd like to get scripted content out, something has to give. Like I've only got so much free time outside of work and life things. So yeah, this is a nice way of like we can just talk about our thoughts. Yes, it's not nice and scripted, but granted it is
short.
quite long. It's not for everyone, but we don't do it that frequently to the point where it hopefully becomes overwhelming. I know, again, people, listeners only have so much time in their day, but we don't expect you to listen to it all in one hit. Like if you want to, again, we're happy for you to listen to any of it, let alone the entire thing. But if you want to take it, step by step and listen to a little bit at a time, well, that's great. We're not going to flood your inbox with these things every single day. I mean, we're going to try and probably struggle to get to a month out. Our initial goal. Just with how busy we both become.
We failed at that really quickly. But goodness. I just want to say thank you again for everybody that's listened so far. The reception has been really great, and yeah,
I completely agree. Yeah, no, it is. I really do love talking about Kingdom Hearts, and Water is a great guy to bounce ideas off, and I'm sure he enjoys it as well.
I always love our chats, and hopefully we get
crap.
some. No, it's great. I love it, especially when you talk about not liking Recoded or that the story is pointless.
I didn't say pointless.
No, we're hoping to have some guests compare. Compare it. Okay, no, fair enough. I don't know, fair enough. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it though. But yeah, anyway, I think we want to have some guests on soon. So yeah, I guess look forward to that when that maybe someday happens. But yeah. Do you have anything else to add, Damo?
I think we should call it there, my friend. All right, buddy.
Yeah.
You get some sleep. I'm going to go make some dinner. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All the best, guys. Bye.